I created a school in NCAA football where we play an entire season in an episode, and now Grand Rapids is going into season 8, coming off our first playoff appearance where we lost to USC because our Heisman winning quarterback got injured, but he's only a junior, so he's back and our offense looks better than ever, but our defense could be rough because we have 6 new starters, and we'll see if we can be actual title contenders. I personally think so, but we also have 3 top 10 teams on our schedule, which is going to make that difficult, so it is a good thing that we're supposed to be a top 6 team ourselves, and 2 of the 5 projected Heisman winners are on our roster. 266-pound sophomore running back Josh Hartman is the other one, and with recruiting this year, we don't really have any major team needs, so we'll just go after the best guys available and see who wants to come here. Now, we don't play until week 3, so we have to get there first, and by then, our awesome offensive coordinator has gained another skill point, so we're getting some big boosts, which gives us a 90 overall offense. As for the prospects that we're going to target, a lot of them are defensive focused, with Luke Simmons potentially being a great cornerback, and guys like Michael Lynch and Jameel McCauley would just really add to that side of the ball. Besides a tackle and a fullback, the only players I could see being on offense are guys like Jamal Hill, because guys like him can play quarterback, halfback, or wide receiver, so we'll see if we need him down the line, but right now this team doesn't have many seniors, and if Pat Smith does want to graduate early, it wouldn't be the end of the world even though he's really good because we have freshman quarterback John Davis. It's about time we get into our first game though, and Hulu Field is packed out for our season opener, and ever since we renovated it, adding all these stands, we still have not lost a game at home, so I want to keep that streak going. On the kickoff, we're just going to try to bring them down, and we have a few new starters on our defensive line, so we're going to see how we hold today. I'm using sophomore Kyle Patrick, and he is one of the new faces on this defense. They're going to throw us a pick on this second play, but Grant Sanders has already dropped one of them, and Deion Sanders' nephew clearly did not work on improving his catching during the offseason. On third down, though, I think we're just going to hold them, and there we go. It would be foolish of me to think Iowa would have any success on offense, but we all know that their defense is normally pretty good, so we're going to have to play it smart today. Our first run with sophomore Josh Hartman didn't get us anywhere, but maybe the option will as Pat Smith keeps it, and he almost had a couple good blocks there. But even though he didn't, it's all good. Now we're going to get Zach Wilson involved, and that's Stevenson. That is not who I intended on getting the ball there, but it's all good. Now Josh Hartman keeps this, making it 3rd and 4 early on, and I could have just taken that drag underneath, but I waited too long, so the Hawkeyes are going to stop us there. And we could go for it, but I'm kind of confident in just pinning them back and getting the stop, but that punt doesn't go too well, so we could find ourselves in a defensive battle with the Hawkeyes, and they just got a couple really good blocks with this run. Somebody please bring this guy down. Come on, boys. I cannot let John Williams just gash us like that, and now their quarterback's running for a bit, but we've gotten our home field advantages. We're getting bailed out, and never mind, it was offsides. Well, now it's 1st and 5 where they're just going to get nowhere, and I'm really liking what I've seen out of Kyle Patrick so far, but they just gashed us, so the Hawkeyes are on pace to get onto the board first in this rainy game, and we're just going to give it up again. I'm not sure if our run D is going to be able to get many stops this season, but once we force teams to pass, I trust our man coverage, and on this one, it's just going to clamp everything. 3rd and 7 now. Will we get the Hawkeyes off of the field? Kyle Patrick let that get open, and right now their quarterback's 0 for 4, so I like what I'm seeing coverage-wise, and this kick is going to doink off the upright. We needed that. They are not going to get any points from that drive, and since we have a Heisman winning quarterback, we should probably let him start to throw the ball a little bit, but we can't forget about running because that's what caused us to have an undefeated regular season last year, and I'm even going to let Josh Hartman go into Wildcat to see if he can break anything off, but that did not work out, and now we have Zach Wilson on this wide receiver screen where they were all over him, making it 3rd and 12 where we're going to roll out with Pat Smith and find Jeff Shelby for the first. It is so nice to have a quarterback that can make plays like that. He's going to hit Jeff Shelby again for another 20, and we have options offensively this year. They have man coverage on this play. Zach Wilson is going to get clamped, but it's all good. We're moving down the field, and it's time for our offense to shine a little bit more. The read option, Pat Smith gets 7, setting up a 3rd and 4 where I trust Josh Hartman to get the gain here, and he's going to get a lot. They were not expecting the run, but it always works out for us in these situations, and I'm not going to lie, that probably should have been a touchdown, but now we find ourselves in a 3rd and goal situation where they just clamped everything. This is disgusting, kicking it on the 3-yard line, but I think points are going to be very hard to come by in this matchup, so as long as we can stop the run, we should be okay. And what a play from the sophomore linebacker. 3rd and 9 now. Are we going to give this up? Matt Small is all over that. He's going to get the interception. He actually lost his starting job last year, but then we moved the senior over to free safety, and look at that play. If we can put together a solid drive, we're going to have full control of this one, and keep in mind, it's almost halftime, and Iowa's quarterback still hasn't completed a pass. That is literally insane, but it's what you should expect whenever you play the Hawkeyes, and I trust our defense to hold it down for us, which is what makes us title contenders. We all know that normally we're able to score offensively, so when you pair that with a solid defense, we're going to be just fine this season, and we've worked it down to about a minute left in the half where Pat Smith is going to run for the first, setting up 4 plays where we could get into the end zone, and Josh Hartman goes to the 1. From here, the sophomore should be able to just punch it in, and that was a really solid first half from your Mastodons. To open up the second, we're getting ball as well. well, where Zach Wilson is back here on the return. He had some good ones last season. He's already juking out 2 players. And could the sophomore wide receiver take this to the house? It is unfortunate he got caught, but he is such a weapon that we can use in any situation. And right now, we're doing so well on the ground, so it doesn't even make sense to try to pass against them. But we're going to have to mix it in anyway, so they can't predict what we're doing. And there we go, another 10. Now we're down on 1st and goal, where Justin Stevenson's going to come underneath for the catch. And I was staring him down there. This one's kept by Josh Hartman, but all of a sudden, it's 3rd and goal, and there's no way that they're going to stop him. We're going to run that back and see if he can finish it off. And he finally got some good blocks. So we are in full control of this matchup versus Iowa, and starting the season this well versus a team that's ranked as high as them should be a good sign of what is going to come. That is another interception. It is Michael Hill that got it. He is a senior. He was a JUCO cornerback, and Iowa's offense has no chance of scoring on us. I did not expect our defense to play this well because, like I said, there's 6 new faces on it, but right now it looks even better than our offensive unit. And on 1st and 10, they are going with the pass because they cannot run the ball on us where they're about to take a sack. Senior Brad Jones was on the end of that one, who we just moved over from defensive end to defensive tackle during the offseason, but they're going to get the first. And they finally completed their first pass, so I guess congratulations to Iowa, but you're still not doing much against us. I truthfully can't think of a better way we could have started this season, and there's still like a quarter and a half left of football, which means we still have a lot of time to give up points to the Hawkeyes. I really wanted to hold them scoreless, but I don't think it's going to be possible after that last catch, and we'll see if we give up a touchdown or not. They've gotten down to the goal line on us, and how on earth did he slip out of there? That should have been a sack, but I guess it's all good because now it is 3rd and goal where they get in, but they also have to go for the 2-point conversion to still have a chance, and our defense is clamped up, so they're not going to count that as a catch, even though it looked like he was probably inbound. Zach Wilson comes away with this kick return, and if he gets 1 block, he is gone. Zach Wilson is one of the best players in school history, and that 98-yard return just put us back up by 4 possessions. Evidently, our young defense needs more time to shine, as we're going to have to stop them again, and this pass is going to be completed where we don't make a tackle, and he's going all the way to the 40. Dustin Larson's completed his last 4 passes, so maybe we're not clamping up as much as I thought we were. Come on, boys. Tackling is still an issue here in Season 8, but a lot of these guys are young, so it does make sense. On 1st and 10, they're not getting much, and their quarterback's just padding his stats at this point. Now he is above 50% completion percentage, and Larson's going to take off where we're going to try and bring him down, setting up a 3rd and inches where they're just going to hand it off, and Williams doesn't get it. That was a great tackle from Grant Sanders, but on 4th and 1, he gives up a touchdown. And I wasn't even thinking they're going for the onside kick, but we only had 2 players there. Kyle Patrick's still going to pick this ball up, and is he going to get a return out of this? Our middle linebacker. I think that's going to wrap this one up, but we still have to make sure that we can run out the rest of the clock against them, and Zach Wilson casually throwing 2 guys off of him isn't going unnoticed. It is 3rd and 6 though, so we need to make sure that we pick this up with Josh Hartman and he gets stopped, setting up a 4th and 3 where I'm just looking to end the game. We're going to pitch it, and Jeff Shelby could make it to the marker. I thought he was going to dive there, but he just gave himself up, and you know that it's over when I was not even calling timeouts, so it wasn't our best performance offensively, but we're going to go into the Michigan game undefeated, and this pass over the top is going to be picked off. All Pat Smith had to do was loft that ball way above the defense, but he didn't, so we have given Iowa a little bit of life, and they're picking up another nice game, except we were able to force it out with Kyle Stevens, so that's what I like to see, and let's just end this for good. We should not be giving up anything else. I am very surprised with how terrible our offense was, though. That does scare me a little bit because we didn't lose that many key faces, only a few offensive linemen, and then Dante Moss at wide receiver, but maybe he was a good distraction. Here on 3rd and 6 with 36 seconds left, they just go with the halfback draw, and you would assume that it'd be over at this point considering they have to score 3 times, but we should have just handed it off instead of trying to run up the score, and we're giving up another big game. Originally, the refs didn't even give it to them, but it was obvious that he made the catch in bounds, and my faith in our defense is starting to lessen. They've given up more and more points as this game's gone on, but we'll be able to see how good they really are next week versus Michigan, and the man coverage didn't stick. 1st and 10 where they're just running it now. I was not thinking they'd run with this little time remaining, but I really want to prevent them from reaching the end zone, and that's what we're going to do. Alright, we just got a really good win versus a top 10 team, and Josh Hartman won player of the game, mainly because Pat Smith didn't do much, but he didn't have to because we ran the ball well, and even though the passing game wasn't good, Zach Wilson made up for it with a kick return for a touchdown, and our win leapfrogged us up to the number 4 spot in the country. These first games against these Big Ten opponents are so important because in order to prepare us for the playoffs, we need to have some quality results, but we also still have to get there in the first place, and Josh Hartman is still on top. As for recruiting, we have a lead on all of these guys, but the top 3 on our board we are going to have to compete with some of these other schools for, and I really want defensive end Jason Taylor, but Penn State does too, so the 5-star is going to be hard to bring in, and we are traveling on on the road to the big house, where we've beaten our in-state rivals Michigan in 2 of the last 3 matchups, but they're one of the highest overall teams in the nation at a 93, so we're going to have to play well. And here on 1st and 10, we're starting it off with a run to Pat Smith, who looks really quick. Normally, you do not see our quarterback taking off like that to open things up. Now Josh Hartman keeps this one, and we're going to continue to go through our 2 star players, but we should probably pass on 3rd and 3, where Pat Smith is going to step up, run around, and this should go for a first down. Look at those legs. I did not want to risk the Wolverines potentially getting us off the field, but freshman running back Jay Atkins went nowhere, and I probably wouldn't have run it if I knew he was going to be in the game, but Pat Smith is going to juke out that defender, break 1 tackle, and now fumble the ball to Michigan. I did not see that coming there, and they've picked it up. Oh my gosh, they're going to take this back to the house. We're not even going to be able to knock them out of bounds, and maybe I should have slid with Pat Smith there, but he's like a running back. Once he broke that first tackle, I had no control. He wanted to keep going, and what a play from that defensive end in a contain. He did not want us to get the ball to Zach Wilson. Jeff Shelby's going nowhere, so we need to wake up because it is already 3rd and 10, and that is going to Mark Adams. It's been spotted as a 4th and inches though, and I've come out in a punt formation, but I want to be aggressive. We're going to burn one of our 3 timeouts and trust that Josh Hartman can pick this up, which he's able to do, but I just noticed something very concerning. Freshman quarterback John Davis is in the game instead of Pat Smith, and I know he can run, so we're going to keep it, but why is he out there right now? I hope our Heisman winning quarterback isn't injured for a long time. That would be very concerning, and I didn't mean to call a wildcat pass because that was always going to be bad, but in the process of it, we did get an update on Pat Smith, and we're going to be stuck with John Davis for the rest of the day. He bruised his sternum, so he's out for the rest of the game, and that's not a good sign, especially since the freshman quarterback wears gloves, so he's probably not going to be great at throwing the ball, and this man coverage just clamped everything up, so we had to run with him. 3rd and 7, it's man-to-man coverage, so Pat Walters is going to get open with that route, and I think we should probably follow it up with a quarterback blast. He is telling everybody that he's running straight up the middle, and this is going for like 2 yards. It is crucial that we are able to finish this one off, and Josh Hartman reaches the end zone, so at least for now, we're all tied up at 7, but we have yet to see the Wolverines offense, and they have a 98 overall at quarterback, so I'm not going to lie, Maurice Thomas scares me, but he's just been handing it off as of recently, and come on boys, bring this guy down. He's going to our 45. I mean, we all know that the Wolverines are probably going to be title contenders just like us this season, so this matchup's going to be very difficult, and I'm so annoyed that we're not going to have Pat Smith for it because I want to see how good we are. We forced the fumble, but their lineman picks it up, and he just carried them to get a first down there on 1st and 10. They're getting a few more, but it wasn't that much, and we're just going to shoot that gap where we're stopping the run. All right, it is 3rd and 10 now. We have some zones over there. They're not going to get the first, and I love that we can lean on our defense. Forcing Michigan to just settle for 3 is a massive deal, and I just realized that we always deal with a backup quarterback in some of our biggest games. Last season, in our first playoff matchup ever versus USC, Pat Smith also got hurt, and I still can't believe that guy won the Heisman last year because his stats weren't crazy, but he was the reason we got as far as we did, and we're going to see if he's a system quarterback or if he's really that guy. Is we're just going to run the option, pitch it to Jeff Shelby, and I think that Jeff Shelby is finally starting to make a real name for himself. The junior wide receiver has had some drop issues in the past, but he just put us up by 4 points, and we are running the ball really well right now. Maurice Thomas is trying to escape the pocket. Kyle Patrick is not going to make the tackle in time, but at least he was able to trip him, and we just blew that run up. But of course, they were still able to get a positive gain, and they're going to try to go deep where Maurice Thomas just sees the open space, and I have missed the tackle with him right there. That guy is hard to bring down. He looks very quick, and there will be a quarterback spy out there on every play for the rest of the game where I think it's going to make a difference here as he's not going very far. All right, this is a huge 3rd and 7 where Maurice Thomas is going to just step around and scramble, but he won't reach the marker. So now it's going to be 4th and 2 where they're going to unfortunately give it to them. I felt like we filled that hole properly, but it wasn't in time, and Maurice Thomas just takes off instantly where we missed him again. This guy is not easy to stop. We're going to have a quarterback contain out there too, and Grant Sanders drops the pick, which would have been game-changing for us. Now on 2nd and 10, they're trying to run around our defense, but we've gotten them to a 3rd and 6 where our man coverage is not going to stick on their tight end. This is where we need Zach Wilson to step up and have another kick return for a touchdown. He won the Jet last year, and so far we've been keeping up with the Wolverines, but that fumble from Pat Smith that turned into a touchdown is probably going to haunt us, and after taking a sack there, it would probably be smart to just take it to the half, but we're going to get a couple of good blocks, and I thought John Davis might have had a touchdown. I don't know what type of arm this kid has, but I'm going to see if he can get us into field goal range, and on the final play of the half, we're just going to throw it up to Zach Wilson, where we're going to see if he can get by the coverage, and they're going to get the interception. Okay, that's probably not the best ending, but I wanted to give us a chance to get points before the half, because I knew the Wolverines were going to have it to open up this 3rd quarter, and we already know what's coming. We just have to see if we're able to actually stop it, and we're going to see what Maurice Thomas does. Did he just bomb us for a huge gain? I guess he's a 98 overall, but that was one of the best throws I've ever seen the computer make. And now they're approaching our red zone where Matt Small got into the gap, but he wasn't able to bring him down, and they're going to pick up the first. That is why the senior wasn't a starter last season, but now he's one of our best options. And what a hit from Jay Green to bring down Maurice Thomas. Now they're trying to take off. We have a spy out there, but it's just not enough. So on third down, we're going to have contains out there and a spy. I don't know if I can use her everything though when they get it. The issue with having contains and a spy is we're going to get no pass rush. And here on second and goal, we're getting in there again. So I highly doubt they're going to hand it off, but they did and they score. Well, we have a lot of work to do with our backup quarterback, who with this quarterback draw is going to be able to run for a bit, but he also just got leveled, and I am going to trust that we can hand this off to Josh Hartman here, where that's going to be the face that we have to keep on feeding. And now we find ourselves in a 3rd and 5 where they go with man-to-man coverage, and that comeback route's going to be not caught. I don't know why Wilson didn't put up his hands, but the connection just isn't there yet between our backup quarterback and the sophomore wide receiver. This punt's going to bounce a little too far, or maybe not. It's going to stop inside the 5. Great job from senior Robert Smith to pin them back there, but they're going to get 5, and they are no longer in any danger of taking a safety, which is very unfortunate for us. On 3rd and short, I want to be very aggressive, but we just weren't able to stop them. It didn't pay off, and if you thought things were already bad, they just got much worse. Josh Hartman is now out for the rest of the game with a mild concussion, and I don't get why we have the injury bug in such big games. This was our chance to see how we sized up against the Wolverines, but I feel like we haven't gotten a great read on how good this team could potentially be because of some of the players we've had to play, and that should have been picked. Dan Griffin's a freshman cornerback that we just recruited, so he has a lot of learning to do, and Zach Wilson's going to take this kickoff. Get out of there. That was a good cut, but he still got brought down, and we have 2 freshmen out there in our backfield where we're going to pitch this one to Justin Stevenson, and look at some of those blocks. That option with the triple option to the pitch to the wide receiver works out, and we should probably just keep it on the ground because we're competing, but eventually we are going to need to pass, and I think we're going to take this slant where they've already gotten in pressure. How did we pull that off? You know what? John Davis is probably going to be very good in the future with this option run. We're not going to get it though, and I think we have to go for this just because we're so close to reaching the end zone, where I'm very happy with that decision. I think it's all going to come down to whether or not we can stop the run one more time versus Michigan, and I'm trying to guess where they're going with it, but it didn't work out in that situation, and Matt Small couldn't get over to the ball. I thought he was about to pick that one off. The play action made him react a second too late, and Zach Wilson, it is your time to bail us out. If you don't get a good return on this, I highly doubt we're going to score quickly, and those are some good blocks as he's going to take this all the way to midfield, and now I think we're going to feed him with this wide receiver screen underneath where he comes away with the ball. He's going to juke, and now he's off of the field, but with this quarterback run, we're going to move the chains, I think, and John Davis is certainly the future. He's going to go up the seam to tight end Allen Brown, so even with backups, we're moving really well offensively, and Mark Adams is going to get open. We're staying in this game for as long as possible, and I love how much effort everybody's putting in. I feel like we have a real chance here. We just have to make sure that we stack the box, and Michigan passed on this down. We were all expecting the run. This is not going to go for much, so we're going to call a timeout, and here we go. We can get them off the field on 3rd and 8 where we are going to. I cannot believe that we have persevered through all of the injuries in this matchup. Now Zach Wilson is going to take this kickoff return, and he's going to get to midfield again, so we legitimately have a chance, and we're just going to make some smart reads on this drive. 2nd and 4, I want to go to Mark Adams with the corner route, and he got naked. I don't know how he created this much separation, but he is going to go all the way down to the 1, and I kind of wish we could choose some more clock versus the Wolverines here, but since it was there, I had to make sure I took the touchdown, and it's time for our defense to step up one final time. Maurice Thomas has a minute to get them a touchdown, and we're going to sack him, so it is 2nd and long already. With this man coverage, they're going to get like 10 of it back, and maybe we should just sit back in zone. It is now 3rd and 7 where I'm going to try to guard both of these up the seam. He's going to get that ball off in time, and Matt Small doesn't make a play on it. Are you kidding me? I guess his last name is probably Small for a reason, but I thought it was all over there, and now they're going to pick up another first. I'm making sure I keep quarterback spies out there because I don't want them to run for a ton, and after spiking it, it is 3rd and 3. There's only 19 seconds left. This is why we have a spy out there. Come on, somebody just bring down Maurice Thomas. There is so much pressure on us to step up. I did switch to man coverage, and I really regret it here. Come on, please make the tackle, and there's 1 second left. This is our look. I didn't think they were going to run the ball. We have a lot of zones out there, and we're going to force the stop. What an ending to that game, and we just beat Michigan with our backup running back and quarterback. That was the most stressful result in school history ever, and rivalry matchups are always this good. Assuming we make the playoffs, there's a chance that we see them again, and with that result, we're up to being the number 2 team in the country, but we still have a lot of work to do because winning our division isn't going to be easy, and if we can win another conference championship, we're going to join a bigger conference next season, and we've landed our first 2 commits, getting the punter that we really needed, but at this point in the series, we don't really have any recruiting restrictions because we've worked up from recruiting out of just these 3 states to now being able to go nationwide, and that's because we had so much success last year, so I'm going to scout some of these athletes looking for some more prospects, and let's hope that we have success on the road at Bowling Green, who's already lost 1 game this year on the road at Texas State, but we know being ranked this high, we're going to have a target on our back, so every MAC school is going to give us their best fight, and we're going to open this one up by handing it off to Josh Hartman, who gets a few yards. It's nice having him and Pat Smith back from injury because we can run the option really well with them, but I also have to give credit to John Davis for filling in really nicely versus Michigan, and how did Jay Atkins not get the first? I cannot believe that we are punting all already versus Bowling Green. We're going to hopefully get a good bounce on this one, but Wright catches it and goes to midfield. So that was not an ideal start versus the Falcons, and that should be picked off. Matt Small was all over the ball, but it's not going to make a difference. We're just going to hit Bush in the backfield. And I trust our defense to come up clutch here on 3rd and 13, where there's no way that Scott got that. Now we're getting the ball back for drive number 2, where Mark Adams is going to start it with a catch. And I feel like we should be throwing the ball more because Pat Smith has some good receivers that he can hit, but he can also run the rock. And every team is so smart. None of them want to press Zach Wilson, which makes a lot of sense, but it never gives us a chance to go deep on them. And we're just going to roll out, try and find our wheel route where Mark Adams is not going to get by 28, but he can't make the catch. I think we have the talent to do stuff like that, and especially just experiment versus teams like Bowling Green. But we should probably lock in to make sure we pick up this 3rd and 4 with the halfback ankle route to Josh Hartman, who's going to get a lot. Now Jay Atkins is back in the game, so it's a good thing that Pat Smith kept this one. And whenever we try to run the ball, they're all over it, but they're not going to stop Justin Stevenson there, who gets to the 10. And Pat Smith needs to get his first passing touchdown of the season on this drive if possible. He finds Hartman for 5, but now he's laying on the ground holding his chest. So John Davis is back on the field where he's getting pressured immediately. This is a big 3rd and 11 for the freshman. He stepped up versus Michigan, but he misses this throw. And it's hard to tell who he was even targeting in that situation. I cannot believe that this is another matchup where we might have to rely on our freshman quarterback, but our defense stepped up against Michigan when it mattered, so I'm expecting them to do the same here. And we've been awaiting the news on Pat Smith. It just came in where he's out for the game. I don't understand why he's not able to stay healthy, but it means we're going to have to rely on John Davis. And so far, the Falcons have put together a pretty solid drive where Jamal Little takes off for the first down. We cannot continue to let them put together good plays like this on us. They're just going to go to their backup running back, getting them to the 30. And on 2nd and 4, it's another handoff, which we're going to fill the gap up in, but the refs have spotted it as a first down, and I am run committing on this play. I cannot let them continue to do this to us. I think we'll be able to hold them if we can get them into some passing down situations, but Green couldn't stick with Richardson, and we just got word that Bowling Green starting running backs out, also with a concussion, so we won't be seeing any of Jeff Bush anymore, and instead they're back up. This is an amazing opportunity to hold them to just a field goal. We need to clamp up though, and where is our zone on the left side of the field? I know we had one there, but he just decided to ignore the Falcons player, and with a few minutes left in the 2nd quarter, we find ourselves trailing by 4 with a backup quarterback having to take over. Zach Wilson's going to make a good play though, and if he could get a couple more blocks, he might be gone. This is why we have the wide receiver returning kicks. That is going to go to the crib, and he just saved us because we desperately needed that. Our defense didn't get much of a break, so they're probably pretty tired giving up a 15-yard gain, but at least we're back on top, and on this next one, I've bitten down really low, so they're just going to go over to Jason Campbell, who stiff-armed somebody, and I don't understand why we're struggling to tackle so much versus Bowling Green. Against Michigan and Iowa, it made sense, but we are so much better than the Falcons, and I should have known that these sliders would keep us in competitive matchups, so even though we have 2 huge wins, making the playoffs will never be a guarantee. And here on 3rd and 9, all we have to do is make sure that they don't pick this up. We need Williams to make the hit, and that's fine. We're going to call a timeout as well, so that'll give our offense some time to score since they're going to hit this field goal. And what if Zach Wilson got another return? That would honestly be ideal. I'm going to juke to the outside, and he has some good blocks. Will he be able to outrun 52 though? Yes, he can, and he always puts us in great field positioning, but we still have a decent amount of yardage that we're going to have to get on the Falcons, and we just have to trust that Josh Davis can sling the rock. He's going to have Allen Brown wide open, but he just missed him there, and that is not a great look from the freshman. At least he's going to run this and then pitch it last second to Jeff Shelby, who's going to get us all the way to the 25-yard line, and we're going to keep it on the ground for as long as we possibly can versus Bowling Green, but there's only like 30 seconds left in the half, so it's going to be difficult to keep this up, and Josh Hartman used all of his strength to get that first down, but now we have to burn a timeout because we needed to get some players a break, and this throw goes over to Jeff Shelby. Time is ticking fast. There's only about 10 seconds left in the half. They're trying to pressure Davis. Will he be able to reach the end zone here? He's going to throw it, and that might have been the wrong move, but our goal is for him to make a quick read with about 3 seconds left, and that is going to be knocked down. Wait, I think I just made a really dumb move, and we're going to keep Hartman in, but I didn't realize that was 4th down, so Bowling Green gets the ball back to end the half. We can't even kick a field goal. I thought we still had time. All my focus was on the clock, but we didn't have another down, and that's one of the dumbest mistakes I think I have ever made while playing NCAA football. The fans are not going to be happy with Andrew Luck for that one, and now Bowling Green just got the perfect blocks that they need. Matt Small, you're going to have to knock out 26, and it is crazy that we are in a competitive matchup with the Falcons right now, but they're going to pick this one up to Butler because we had no pass rush, and I wish we could generate some pressure on the Falcons, which we kind of did there, making this a 3rd and inches, but they got the right blocks again, and you can tell that they're just going to run the ball for as long as possible, but they're going to pick this one up to their tight end for more, and we are really on upset alert right now. This is not good at all. We can't stop their running, we can't stop their passing, and if it wasn't for Zach Wilson's kickoff return, we'd only have 3 points, but it looks like he's going to get multiple good blocks on this one, and could he get another one? I think the wide receiver is gone for his 2nd second. What a play. He is continuing to keep us in this game. He definitely deserves to be in the Heisman race at this rate, but their backup running back's better than their starter. And Jason Campbell is making a name for himself against our defenses. He's going to pick up another 7. After this game, I think we're going to switch up our defensive formation to the 3-3-5 because I want to have a better chance at stopping the run, and we always do out of that. But the fact that we just held them there is a big deal, and Zach Wilson's going to have a chance to return this one as well, but he doesn't catch it. And we're just lucky that this drive is starting at the 20-yard line where Davis makes a guy miss, but he stumbled over. He would have been gone. This next play has a design quarterback rollout, and he is going to just take his corner route over to Jeff Shelby where he brings it in. But there was no chance of rolling out there, and he's going to keep it on this one for a few more. I gotta say, the freshman fits right in with our offense, replacing Pat Smith really well. He's done a solid job whenever he's in, but he's still going to have to wait his time the rest of the year, assuming that Pat Smith can stay healthy. And then I'd assume that the former Heisman winner would declare for the NFL draft. But we'll see what happens because he has been struggling to stay on the field, and that is a bad read to the flat. That is the first one that I was worried about. The one time that I take it, they are all over the ball, and we force a fumble. Thank you, please pick it up. And we're not getting bailed out. This is by far the worst I have ever played offensively. But freshman Luke Anderson gets the sack to end the third quarter, and everybody in the stadium knows that they're probably handing this ball off, but they went with the play action. So they've set themselves up with a 3rd and manageable where that route did get open, and there was another one over the middle of the field as well. It is not looking good for your Mastodons right now, and these play actions are killing us. They just shook multiple defenders, and we're not going to make the tackle with Williams. It's over. I feel like we're not going to go undefeated this season if we cannot stay healthy. Come on, Wilson, please, just get your 3rd kickoff return of the game. Why not? We could really use it. Our last drive didn't even end because we're using a freshman quarterback. It's because I'm no good at this game, but Jeff Shelby comes away with the ball, and look at the strides he's taken. It is not pretty, but we are staying in this one. And on 1st and 10, Little is going to drop back and have way too much time to get that ball out as Hampton gets 9. I'm going to start sending like 5 players in his direction, and he missed that throw. So it is 3rd and 1 where I've decided to run commit, and that should have paid off, but we hit him to the outside, and Jason Campbell gets the 1st down. Come on, Grand Rapids. We cannot lose on the road like this. I know we're kind of shook with our backup again, but that didn't stop us from beating Michigan, so it shouldn't hold us back against Bowling Green either. And look at that route. They have 19 first downs to our 9, and Hill just got toasted again by Butler going to the 7. So right now, they honestly deserve to take us down. They have played a better match, but we are going to hold them here. And my hope is they just try to pass because we can be all over all of that. There's a lot of zones out there on the field, and please just get the interception here. That is what we needed. I think we're going to try to return it out with King, and he's going to shed a tackle. So it's nice to see Danny King stepping up and making a huge play, and he's our backup free safety behind Matt Small because Daughtery had such a bad offseason. We probably should have just taken a knee with him, but the adrenaline was pumping. We're still going to get to the 20, and all we have to do is go down, get in field goal range, and win this game. I have no idea where that defender came from, but Jeff Shelby's going to get open, and he does not hang on. 3rd and 9 now. I think Jay Atkins is going to get wide open, so we're going to take it to him. Look at the freshman go, and he just fumbled it back to the Falcons. You're kidding me. I thought we were about to just drive down the field and get the easy win against them, but nope. Instead, we fumbled it, and they're starting to chew the clock, but we forced a fumble back. And how did we not pick that up? I sure hope that they are not in field goal range. On 3rd and 6, Matt Small is going to have to cover deep, and they have somebody open in the end zone. But Mark Kilpatrick comes away with the sack, and we're going to have to take a timeout because they were running down the clock before attempting a 55-yarder, and no way. Their kicker actually had the leg for it, but he wasn't accurate, and look who is getting open. It is Zach Wilson. He's going to catch this ball, reel it in, and I'm going to just fall down inside the 10-yard line, I think. I would rather just settle for a field goal than give Bowling Green a chance in this game, and this is a kick that Aaron Adams could hit with his eyes closed, so we have survived against the Falcons, and that was super close, but Zach Wilson went off, and next week we will have Pat Smith back, which helps because offensively everything looked really rough today. To make things even better, we have a bye, so players have a chance to rest, and coming out on the other side of it, we've actually fallen in the rankings, but that's bound to happen because we play in a weaker conference, and Northern Illinois is the only team that's beaten the Nittany Lions, so I'm a little worried about this matchup versus them, but either way, we're going to have to be on top of things because a lot of players are going to visit for it. The last thing I'll mention is we picked up 2 defensive backs in Jameel McCauley and then Luke Simmons, who we're going to have to move over, so we're making progress, but we need to rack up a ton of sacks. It's going to be a night game at Hulu Field, and I just hope that Pat Smith can stay healthy in this one because John Davis has shown some good flashes that he will be successful in the future, but at the same time, he's also going to struggle. He's young, and this season needs to go well. Look at Zach Wilson. There is no way that this kid is about to get his 4th kick return of the season. We are like 3 or 4 games into the year. He already won the Jet last year. He's definitely getting it this season. And I cannot believe he just took another one to the house. I should also mention another ranked MAC school just lost. And everything is setting up for us to have success this year. Moore is trying to scramble on his first play. But we have faced Lamar Moore before when he was the backup, and it turns out that he's now the starting quarterback. This is our chance to get the Huskies off of the field, and it's going to be a halfback draw. I should have seen that coming. But it's still really early on, so it doesn't matter that much, and they're going to to get another 8. Our run defense just does not exist, and we are not going to make the tackle here. I missed with Steven, so Olsen takes it to the house. And I refuse to believe that Zach Wilson could potentially come away with another kick return, but if we get some good blocks, I guess it's a potential thing, and I just tripped up over that lineman. I think that would have been another one. And now we have to actually run our offense, where that one went nowhere, but this one with Josh Hartman gets us like 6. It is a 3rd and manageable for Pat Smith, where nothing got open, so he's just going to have to try throw something, and that was not meant to go to Walters at all. I am glad that that inaccurate throw panned out for us, because it could have also gone terribly. Look at the freshman getting loose. He fumbled in his last game. Hopefully he doesn't do that here, and he might be able to reach it to the end zone. Jay Adkins just had the play of his career so far, and every time we play the Huskies, we know that it's probably going to turn into a shootout, and it's going to stay that way if we can't figure out how to stop their rushing attack where they go for even more. It's like they're getting 7 or 8 yards a carry. Hughes has a chance to make a difference though, and that's a great tackle from the sophomore, who's actually our backup middle linebacker because he's slower than Kyle Patrick, and what a play to hit them in the backfield. That is exactly what we needed there, and they're going to punt it to Zach Wilson. They're not even trying to pin it out of bounds, which is going to be trouble for their team. Do you think that you can stop one of the best returners of all time in college football? Look at that. I think he single-handedly gives us our best chance at winning a championship, and he was pretty solid last year, but he was nowhere near the level of returner he is now. What is that throw from Pat Smith? I cannot believe how inaccurate it was, but we have to trust our former Heisman winner to just step up and make a throw. So that's what he did right there, making up for his mistake, and then Wilson catches this one. Zach Wilson has scored his 2nd touchdown of the day, and it is about time that we step things up defensively where our coverage clamped up, so all their quarterback could do was try to run. We've had a solid first quarter, especially in comparison to the Bowling Green game, but we still have a ton of work to do, and I don't love that we're giving up that many rushing yards, but we're going to get over to Williams with Matt Small. So as of right now, Lamar Moore has passed for negative yards, and I'm almost certain that if we can stop the rushing attack, then they're going to have a hard time getting a lot of points on us today, with sophomore Jared Snyder getting the sack. He's another new face on our defense, and the entire linebacker core that we're starting is all sophomores. Zach Wilson is going to get a couple of good blocks there, and look at this. He is going, and he just has to beat one more guy as he's going to score another touchdown. I have never seen anything like this in NCAA football, but we have the best player in the country, and it is literally Tyreek Hill Jr. that's just running around doing everything for us, but they're about to pick up a big gain themselves as nobody's able to keep up with 84. It is crazy how good some of the blocks on these returns have been as well, but Lamar Moore just took off for a big touchdown, and they have twice as many total yards of offense as us, but we have twice as many points. Zach Wilson takes this one, and there's just no way. This is unfair at this point. He's going to have another touchdown, and I think we might need to fix some sliders or something. I think our team overall is just too good compared to their backups, because we're literally getting pancakes versus every guy trying to stop us, and there's no sliders preventing returns like that from happening every time. Even on Heisman, it feels way too easy, but I guess we have built a really good program, and after this game, I'm going to take a look at them, because I don't want the rest of the season to be unfun where we don't even step on offense, because we're literally able to just run around everybody with our fast returner and maybe get another touchdown with Zach Wilson. Like, we have done absolutely nothing offensively, but we have a 21-point lead, and we're about to make it even more with Pat Smith as he takes this handoff and he is getting all the blocks that he needs. This is the level of domination that I was expecting versus Bowling Green, but it didn't happen until this game, and Lamar Moore is scrambling for a big one, but it already feels like this one's over anyway. And can we get a stop, please? Why are we giving up so many large gains? My biggest concern with this series is making sure that things always stay very balanced, so that's what I'm worried about, but at the same time, we could just be playing really well and it's a fluke, so I can't really tell. We're going to see if they get any route bounces here, and Moore, you're not going anywhere. This is about to be our quickest game of the season, assuming that we're able to hold on 3rd and 8. Maybe they get a couple route bounces, and there it is. They're getting closer and closer to reaching the end zone, getting it back within 21 points, but they're taking timeout, so it's like they want us to also have a chance to score. And that was a great tackle, setting up a 3rd and goal where they pass it and they're going to catch it. Well, Zach Wilson, here you go. You have another chance at getting a kickoff return. Is it going to be possible? See, this is just almost ridiculous at this point. Like, I have got to fix something before the rest of this series continues. I don't know what to change because we're on Heisman already. And then obviously there's these sliders, but nothing that has to do with returns. I think the best thing we could do is probably turn the clipping penalty back up to something like 60, because the numbers that we're starting to put up with returns are just very unrealistic. And I'm so glad that we're having this much success, but I'd also like our offense to have to touch the field at some point, and look at Lamar Moore going for another 15 or 20. It's being brought back though, and it's a clipping penalty. That might not be the best of solutions. decisions. And it's something that we have changed in this series before because they got out of hand. This could be picked off though, and look at that. Michael Hill comes to the ball. I can guarantee that after this drive, we're just going to put in all of our backups, seeing what they can do, get them some experience because Pat Smith's going to take this one to the crib easily. And this is why we need to win the MAC conference, because some of these opponents are just way too easy for a program of our caliber at this point in a dynasty. They're getting another 20. What is happening? Like on one side of the ball, we're dominating, but on the other, we're still struggling to tackle them and stop them. So I really don't know what to think about this team, and you just keep going, Lamar Moore. Do you do anything else? I'm about to send a blitz in his direction every play and see how he reacts, and that's when he turns into Tom Brady. He didn't even get concerned for a second. He just dropped back and made a play, but that hit had a lot of frustration behind it, and you can tell that our defense is so sick of having to stop him. Stewart's in the game. We actually hurt their starter, and Northern Illinois should just give up at this point. They don't stand a chance in winning this one, and I think our backups are going to be just as good. I promise that I will play at least one drive with them, but for the very first time in the series, I don't think it'll make sense to show every last play because we've just been doing so well, and this one's already been over for at least a quarter. Mark Adams comes away with it, and for whatever reason, we have not seen much of him ever since he had that good performance in the Michigan game, but I'm pretty sure he's only a sophomore or a junior, so he's still young, and there's still next season. Jones gets this one, and we're just spreading around the ball to everybody while our backup quarterback looks better than ever as he's going to run, and he is definitely the future after Pat Smith leaves. John Davis is going to be the name of the future here at Grand Rapids. He can pretty much do it all. He is even quicker, and in the end, we're going to win 70-31, so this was just a blowout. If you all are that upset at me for skipping the fourth quarter, I'll show it in the future, but there really wasn't that much to see, and that stat line from Zach Wilson is just broken. I might even take him off of the return team just so the entire season isn't that dumb, and commits are continuing to flood into our school while we're still able to upgrade our head coach, and this one might tell us what plays our future opponents are calling. At the top of our division, it's still us, Eastern Michigan, and Central Michigan, who's up on the schedule next, but they lost to Coastal Carolina. And why is Zach Wilson not up here in the Heisman race? We just won by 40 and dropped another spot in the rankings, so we still have a lot to prove, but at least he won Player of the Week. It's that time of the year again though, as it's the Michigan-MAC rivalry, and the first game is always between Western and Eastern, and the Eagles ended up winning in overtime by 3, so they've stayed undefeated this season, and now it's our turn to take on Central Michigan. Before we hop into it, I do want to change our defense to a 3-3-5 though, and I'm going to see if making Jordan Williams our kick returner changes anything, but that might be a mistake because they have the #1 offense, and I swear that they always have a high overall quarterback. At least we get to play this one at home at night, and our stadium looks so much better with all these stands now, where we're starting on defense, and they're just going to go with the quarterback run up the middle. They're the highest overall team in the MAC besides us, so I'm expecting them to play very well, and I love running this 3-3-5 to give us our best chance of stopping the run, but I have no idea how it'll do versus the pass, and I'd assume we're about to find out, but they've just run the ball on 3rd and long. Well, from what we just saw, I gotta say, our defense looks a lot better out of that formation, and on this return, Jordan Williams does have speed, not like Zach Wilson, but he's still able to get a good one, and I don't think it matters. Whoever we have in there, they're gonna do very well, and maybe what I'll do is only return kicks whenever we play against big schools. We will see how the season plays out and what type of decision I make. We're just gonna dump this one off to Josh Hartman, and on 3rd and 1, we're gonna keep it with Pat Smith as he is going to get the yardage. I thought he might not there, but he's still going for more. That cut to the inside literally changed everything, and they sent in a blitz where Pat Smith is trying to evade the pressure, but he's out of stamina. He's going to go down. So that's why we try to keep things on the ground, but that's not working either. And here on 3rd and 12, we need to make sure that we at least get a field goal out of this drive, but that's just going to go incomplete. We're about to find out if Aaron Adams has the leg for this, but he's kicking into 11-mile-per-hour winds, so that makes sense. And it's going to remain all tied up at 0, but I trust our defense to hold them, and I just missed the tackle there, so they're going to get the first. This team is so solid, but the expectations also puts a lot of pressure on us. And I feel like if we can't stay undefeated, everybody's just going to be disappointed. Joe Washington again gets open, and you could see that happening from a mile away, but there's only so much we can do about it. Come on, Grant Sanders. Oh gosh, we just got swerved out by their running back for a lot. It is so hard to capitalize on those open field tackles, and now Rodgers finds the end zone. So we're trailing, but there's still plenty of time left, and Josh Hartman gets a couple. Not using Zach Wilson to put us in fantastic field positioning definitely hurts, but Jeff Shelby gets open on the corner route. There's not a defender in sight, and he is going to be gone to the house. That's a 70-yard touchdown for the junior who actually held onto the ball, and he's been having such a good season that I can't even make fun of him anymore. We definitely needed it to end the first quarter, because now Central has the ball again, and this is a run up the middle for 6. We're kind of sending a blitz on 3rd and 4, though. We're going to see if we can get pressure in time. I see multiple players open. He was out of bounds, though, and the refs are going to throw the flag for illegal touching. I'll take getting a stop there all day, and Jordan Williams doesn't have that much time back here as he's not going to get around everybody, or he will. Look at this. Our returns are still so good. I will say if it was Zach Wilson in the game, we probably would have gotten even more, and that's why he's simply over there on the right side of the field where he is open, and he's going to reel this one in. We shouldn't even need to use our greatest weapon to beat any teams unless we're facing off against big schools, because the roster that we have built around him is amazing, and Pat Smith breaks breaks that tackle to pitch it to Josh Hartman, but that's not for much. So we still need to convert on 3rd and inches, and that's what he does. Just a few minutes left in the second quarter now. We're going to keep it and then pitch it last second. Jeff Shelby could get another touchdown, but he gets held. And on 2nd and 9, they're going with some zone coverage, but we get sacked. Well, now it is 3rd and long. It's just man-to-man coverage, and we're going to go over to Wilson, but they were all over him. So unfortunately, we're going to have to settle for a field goal. And maybe the Northern Illinois game was a fluke because we did whatever we wanted versus them, but that's not been the case versus Central Michigan. They just broke multiple tackles, and we have got to step things up. I'm going back to putting in our greatest weapon as a kick returner, and I refuse to lose to our rivals. They've beaten us too many times before, and we cannot let them ruin our hopes of joining a better conference next year. Here on 3rd and 13, they are passing, but I don't think they're going to be able to pick this up. We need Sanders to make the tackle in time, and he doesn't. I don't understand why we were even in cover 2 if you're not going to have any player there, but our guys are not playing the zones that we're expecting them to before the snap, and we're giving up more yardage. This is probably one of those teams that we don't need to waste one of our players being in a quarterback spy against, so I'll stop putting that onto the field, and hopefully that will make a difference. This wide receiver screen is going to get picked off by Grant Sanders, and what a play from the sophomore. He's going to break that tackle. Get out of his way. That should have been a touchdown, but we still have about 45 seconds to reach the end zone, and they tried to send a blitz, which is not a good idea. Jeff Shelby fumbles it to Wilson though, and that's a little concerning, but he picked it up, so we're all good. And again, they're sending in a blitz. I don't know why they think that's going to work for them. The more they do it, the easier that they're making this drive for us, and Mark Adams is going to reel it in. So it took us 3 plays to reach the end zone, and they should just be taking things to the half, which was a really solid one for us. I'm happy with it because we also get ball to start the 3rd quarter, and their kicker isn't even going to let Zach Wilson return it. He just booted it out of the back of the end zone, and we continue to pass on them, but since we have a lead like this, we're probably better off just running the football instead. And it's kind of weird that we're not coming back in all these games anymore, but we actually just have to hold on to our lead. It makes it a lot easier to get the right result and also test things out as we're fitting it into that tight window. But Jeff Shelby was never going to get open there, and Pat Smith just spun that defender out. He needs to get around this end, and what a play from our quarterback. As of right now, I honestly think we can do whatever we want offensively, and with a halfback swing pass over to Josh Hartman, he is going to reel this one in and then move the chains for us. All we need is a touchdown on this drive to really put away Central Michigan. Then they're going to be in a lot of trouble, and Jay Adkins is trying to outrun people, but the freshman looks like he's been training with Eddie Lacy, and Mark Adams catches this one to get us to the 1. Now it's on Josh Hartman to simply put it away, and that interception to end the first half from Grant Sanders really changed everything. They were so close to scoring and taking the lead on us, but instead we got it, and now we find ourselves up by 17, so it's crazy how quickly things can change, and I should have forced a fumble. There we go. Pick it up. Thank you. I don't know why their quarterback thought he could pitch it, but again, our defense has stepped up, and do they really think that they can keep up with tight end Allen Brown? I literally celebrated before it even reached the end zone because I knew it would be a good throw, and we just put up 21 points in the matter of like 2 in-game minutes. This is crazy, and that should have been picked off as well. I love how quickly that we're able to take control of things, and maybe we can get another defensive stop, but they're kind of lasering our zone coverage right now, so we've switched over to man, and they still have somebody open. I think that's always going to be the case. It's just whether or not their quarterback actually sees it like he does in this situation with Rodgers again. But even if they do score, it's almost already out of reach for them, and we're going to stop them short. If they want to reach the end zone, they're going to have to work for it, and to keep it within 2 possessions, they've got to go for the 2-point conversion, but I think we've got everything locked up, and why does he have this much time? That's frustrating, but our offense has been amazing, so I have no doubt in my mind that we're going to go out and take care of business as we have Justin Stevenson getting open over the middle of the field. To be honest, on this next play, I don't even know what routes are out there. I just want to see if I can run around with Pat Smith and do something. He's going to spin both of those guys out, but he also gets caught, and I just realized that's how you get your quarterback injured, so I should probably be a little bit more careful, but he's going to get a couple of good blocks here, and he might be able to beat 37 to take this one to the end zone. At this rate, I don't know who can keep up with us, and I feel like we have a championship on the horizon, but we've also seen how injuries can affect us along with some underdogs, so winning is never a guarantee because any team can keep up with us, and that is what's really scary. I mean, last year we learned that when we went 13-0 and then lost our first playoff game, but I think we're going to be more prepared this season because we have played some tougher opponents, and we still have ones like our road game versus Penn State coming up in the future, along with an undefeated Eastern Michigan team and probably some other hard MAC school at some point. Look at that stiff arm too. That's the type of stuff that lets me know we still have a ton of work to do. And let's see what Central Michigan does in this situation. I left their running back open, but they didn't take it. And Keith Haring is 19 for 22, so besides that interception, he's been awesome. But Michael Hill almost grabbed that one. And now it's 3rd and long for them where they're probably just going to take one of their drags underneath. That's what they normally want to do, and Rodgers catches it. He breaks one tackle, but he's brought down short. We're standing over him, taunting him, and that's what you should do versus your rivals, but we still have to hold them on 4th and 2, and that's what we're going to do. That should be game, so we're going to walk away with another win. And Pat Smith was definitely the reason that we were able to pull away in this one. He's been fantastic on the ground. He might get another. Our rivals are one of the teams that I wouldn't mind running it up against, so if they give us the right look at the end zone, we're going to have to take it with somebody. And I am sure that Pat Smith wants another if he wants wants to win the Heisman Trophy again this season, but he's only got like 40 seconds left to make that happen, and this is going to be the final play where he's not going to reach the end zone. Oh well, we still annihilated our rivals, and I have absolutely nothing to complain about because offensively things just looked amazing in every single category, and I want to win the Michigan-Mac rivalry one more time because if we move conferences in the future, I don't know if we'd be able to schedule all three of those teams. But one thing I want to point out is our national disrespect is we don't have a Heisman contender, and they continue to drop us in the polls, so we need to make sure that we step up because next on our schedule is 1-5 Buffalo, and we have to make sure that we get a first round bye in the playoffs. We're going to have to make a statement on the road, and I won't be happy unless we win by at least 28. Normally, the Bulls are one of the better teams in our conference, so it's weird to see that they're struggling this season, but on 2nd and 6, we're going to have to take something, and I waited long enough to find Josh Hartman down the field. Pat Smith makes extending plays so simple as he's going to then keep this and pitch it last second over to Zach Wilson, and he cannot outrun this defender, so that's pretty surprising, but at least we're having a lot of success offensively so far. And on 2nd and 8, we're just going to hand it off to Josh Hartman, who gets us the first. I think Buffalo's going to have a very hard time stopping our offense from what we've seen on this first drive, and we'll just make sure that we cap it off here on the ground. Whenever we play Buffalo, normally they love to run the football against us, so we have to be prepared to stop the run, and their quarterback tried to go somewhere. Dan Olsen didn't get far though, and here on 3rd and 5, we are all over the drag route, so we're going to force an early 3 and out. And from what we've seen, I don't think we're going to have many issues in this matchup. I think that we've outgrown most of the MAC, and Zach Wilson is back on the return, so we're just going to try as hard as we can against all of these opponents. We want to go out, blow them out, and prove that we are the better program. He catches it to the house, and he set us up for that 40-yard touchdown, which he caught. It's so weird to see us dominating this much, but it helps when we know what's probably coming, and it's another run which we're all over. Also, I have got to mention how 85 just got launched onto the ground, and he was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Here, we're all over the halfback screen, so we get the sack, and so far, it is looking like this is one we could put away here in the first quarter. Zach Wilson on this return is going to get to the left side of the field, and I'm glad he's back there. He's going to take it to the 20. So we are setting ourselves up to have success again, and that comeback route just cooked that corner from Justin Stevenson. It's really so simple to score on offense now, but it's also my first game of the day, and I normally do a lot better in those compared to the rest. So we'll see if we're able to keep this up for the rest of the season. On 2nd and 10, Olsen is going to throw it, and we are not going to get the pick. We were all over that ball, though. This is a 4 verticals, and I couldn't keep up with both routes. So Buffalo has finally picked up a first down, and we'll see if they can get some momentum from that as they're going to find another receiver down the field, and he's going to break both of those tackles, so he's going to be gone unless someone can catch him, and we're not going to. James Davis just gave the Bulls a little bit of light, but they're also going to have to figure out how to stop our offense if they want to keep it up, and Mark Adams is going to go for 10. That was almost a perfect first quarter from our team, and there's nothing I could possibly complain about after that. One thing I would like to do a little bit more, though, is pass, so that's what we're going to do against the Bulls just because we can, and there's simply so many good targets and mouths to feed on this roster, so I'm going to do my best to spread it around and get it into the hands of almost everybody. Pat Smith has yet to throw an incompletion in this one, and he is going to pitch it last second to Jeff Shelby, who jukes out that defender, and he does not want to go down, fighting for even more. We're getting closer and closer to reaching the end zone, and apparently Justin Stevenson knocked over the pylon there, so we have already scored 28, and it is just over for Buffalo. I don't think they can keep up. It's going to be incredibly difficult for them to come back, especially after they just lost 4 yards. On 2nd and 14, they go to Reed, but they still need to pick up another 9 to move the chains, and Kyle Patrick is all over their target. Because of that, they had to take a drag route instead, and Zach Wilson got a couple of good blocks here, so he's going to be able to get this to around midfield, but a clipping penalty was thrown, so it's coming back. So if we want to score another touchdown before the half, we're going to have to work for it, and we'll see what Mark Adams can do to all these defenders. I don't know why I feel obligated to still mix in the run every so often when we're dominating like this, but it's so nice to actually have a play action work for us as we're able to use it to our advantage. And I haven't even tried to go deep to Zach Wilson yet, but I want to attempt it here where that ball looks like it was underthrown, and he almost caught it still. It looks like a lot of the backup wide receivers are in on this one, and I probably should have taken that slant. I should not be trying to run with Pat Smith, because now it is 3rd and 10, and we're just going to go over to Walters. But that sets up a 4th and 2, and we're in a position where I want to practice running a fake punt where Smith is not going to outrun 54. Our punter also got hurt on that play, so it's just a dumb way to end the half, but it shows how confident I am in our roster, and we almost got it right back. I have to say, I have never seen somebody on a special teams get hurt in NCAA football, so this is definitely a first. But it was only back spasm, so he'll be back if we need him, but I highly doubt it because we'll just score again. And going forward, I think we're going to handle blowouts a little bit differently. Not that we don't need to see every single play, but this one has already been over, and it's going to be over for the rest of it. Kyle Patrick makes the hit, and on 2nd and 9, Buffalo just goes with the run, but that's going to lead to them getting the first down. So they're closing in on reaching the end zone, and I sure hope that they don't get ball to start the second half. If they do, it might actually not be over unless Zach Wilson can come away with a good kick return here, and we are going to get around all those guys. But cutting it back did did not help. And let's just see if Jeff Shelby can come away with anything crazy on this screen. But unfortunately, he didn't. So now we're going to look for Mark Adams over the middle of the field, and that's going to be reeled in. I think we all know that that probably shouldn't have been a catch, and they just got instant pressure, but we're going to go with the deep post route to Justin Stevenson, and he's somehow up. And there's still 5 seconds left before the half, so we can try to squeeze in a quick touchdown, which we do. Time ran out, but it's not going to matter. Mark Adams made the catch. And if we wouldn't have pulled that off, it probably would have given Buffalo a chance. But I am so confident in this team to get things done, and I just missed multiple tackles. However, even the refs are on our side, so it's being brought back. And we're getting to the point where this one is pretty much going to be sealed up. It's already 3rd and 19, and I highly doubt that they're going to be able to convert here. They're throwing it straight to Kyle Patrick, who gets his interception. And once we go up by 21 and also have possession of the ball, I'm just going to show you all the highlights instead of showing every single play. And that was a great run from Josh Hartman. To no one's surprise, there's another opportunity to get Buffalo off of the field on this 3rd and 10, and we do it. But they might as well attempt the 4th and 1 because it's already over if they don't. And I was all over Henderson, but I made a bad play. That would lead to a touchdown from the Bulls, but we're just going to try to run out the clock. And the refs are definitely making it hard to do that. So all of a sudden, we find ourselves in a long 3rd and 18 where Jeff Shelby should hold on, and he doesn't. Well, I guess this one isn't completely over yet. We have to punt it back to the Bulls, and that bounced at least nicely where they're going to pick it up at the 35, and we just have to bring down Davis. But since they have a chance, I'll go back to showing everything. And it would be so nice if our defense could just get one more stop and seal it for us, but they're going to pick that up. They've never really been in this one, but they've done a good job at keeping it at least respectable to where it's not a blowout. And that's all you can really ask for from a team that's currently 1-5. But Dane Olsen has had a rough time just figuring things out. He's trying to escape the pocket here, and we are all over him. 3rd and 4 now. It's a halfback screen. We are all over that one. And if Buffalo can't move the chains here, that's pretty much it for them, but they're going to complete the pass, and come on. As much as I'd love for us to just end it, they keep finding little ways to stay in it, and I don't know why they're running at this point in the game. They have to score quick. So we'll see what they draw up on 3rd and 5, and it's a handoff which resulted in a touchdown. I have to respect their effort. They stayed in it as long as possible. Jeff Shelby's going to pick this up though, and I might be able to take this to the crib with him. He's going to come really close, and we just need a few more yards with Pat Smith now. But they refuse to make it easy for us, and Josh Hartman's going to fight for it. At this rate, it's all over, and Pat Smith doesn't get in, so I guess we have to run it back on 4th down, and come on, dude. I've never struggled so much with quarterback sneaks, but in the end, we're just going to hold on to win by 21, and look at that stat line from Pat Smith. 6 total touchdowns should put the former Heisman winner back in the Heisman race, but we have a challenge coming up on the road, and Penn State is better than us on paper, but they've also lost to both Northern Illinois and Michigan. We've already beaten the Huskies, and it turns out that someone has taken down Eastern Michigan. It was Toledo. So right now, we're on the path to make the MAC championship, and we're no longer adding any more prospects to our recruiting board. Obviously, we want some of those athletes, but the main focus still is going to be Jason Taylor, and if anybody still needs to come for a visit, it will be against Western Michigan. We're only halfway through the year, so there's still a lot of season remaining, and it looks like Penn State has a really good quarterback and running back, so I'm not looking forward to stopping their offense, especially in front of the Nittany Lions whiteout crowd. Alright, first play of the day. They're actually passing the ball, and that's going to get them a couple, but the annoying thing about playing them is they're going to stay in hurry up mode. We're all over the halfback screen, and their quarterback is taking off. We're going to have to lay the hammer with Michael Hill. They'll literally stay in hurry up mode all game until you get them behind the line, and I hope our guys are ready for this because it could make everybody very exhausted. Vince Smith is going to get around our defense, and can somebody just bring him down? We have had to stay in this same formation the entire drive. They're getting another 5, and they've been in hurry up mode the entire way down the field. They're not going to get out of it as their quarterback just swerved out multiple of our defenders, and I think Matt Small just got tripped up by the ground or something. Actually, it was Michael Hill that prevented him from making the tackle here, and after playing MAC schools for the last like 4 or 5 weeks, we have some real competition again. This could get bad. These are the types of programs we're going to take on in the playoffs though, and Pat Smith on the first play is going to see all of the open space on the left side of the field, so I trust our offense. It'll just be whether or not they're able to keep up with the Nittany Lions. I think we're going to do a lot of running the ball today as well because that normally seems to work. Justin Stevenson takes this pitch and he'll get us to the 30, so things are going well so far, and Zach Wilson's going to reel this one in for another 20 yards. From what we've seen, defense might not exist in this matchup, so we have to make sure that we just finish this drive off, and we do. I think it's so funny that Penn State's offense is coded into revamped to be the only hurry up offense in the game as well, because from what I've seen, they normally take things pretty slow, but not on here at all. If you've ever played revamped, you would know exactly what I'm talking about, but that's the first time they're going to have to take a break, and we get to actually select another formation. They did not hurry it up for this play call where they just went with the halfback draw, and our defense has stopped the Nittany Lions. That is exactly what we needed, and Pat Smith is going to try to run on this one where he is going to get around all those defenders, but it really wasn't for that big of a gain, so that's a little disappointing, and he had no time. They were able to get a free rusher in on that play, so we're going to try to fit it up the seam to Allen Brown, but they're going to pick us off, and that was probably not the right read in that situation. So we're back to relying on our defense to get a stop, and and Smith is immediately scrambling. I kind of want to send a blitz in his direction just to see how he reacts, but he kept that ball for 20. And of course, they've stayed in hurry-up mode where they snapped it pretty quickly, and Kyle Patrick is going to knock that offensive player into a tackle. Now it's 2nd and 14 where they're just going to run it, and he's all over it again, and the sophomore is everywhere, so it is 3rd and 8 where Penn State goes deep, and Michael Hill is just going to swat it down. I'll always take it when our defense can force a team to take in their 3, and Zach Wilson has not had as much luck on the returns as of recently, so maybe it was a fluke versus Northern Illinois, but it really freaked me out. He was just having the greatest game of all time, and Pat Smith is going to try to pitch it, but they played that one perfectly, because if he could have gotten that ball out, it probably would have resulted in a touchdown. Josh Hartman makes it a 3rd and manageable, and I'm either taking this drag route underneath to Jeff Shelby or trying to go over the middle, but they just got pressure in. I have to admit, their defense has been no joke so far, and their offense is pretty solid as well, so they're definitely going to give us a battle, but I feel like we are a better team, and come on guys, why is 43 getting free? We had everybody there ready to stop the run, but he just slipped out, and on 2nd and 10 they keep it, they're going to pitch it, and Kyle Patrick makes the hit. Whatever we do on 3rd and 11, we cannot let them get into field goal range, and that's a great stop from our defense. With a good return, we're going to start this drive around midfield, and Josh Hartman jukes out that guy, so I like how things are going so far, and Pat Smith somehow didn't get tackled there. Ideally, if this could be the final drive of the half, we would be sitting pretty against them, so we'll continue to keep it on the ground until they show us that they can stop the run. And we haven't seen that much of Jay Atkins, but he takes this handoff for 6, so the freshman got a touch, and now they're going with man-to-man coverage, and that's not going to work. Zach Wilson even reeled it in with one hand, and I have a corner route to Allen Brown that I really want to take where we roll out, float it over there, and he brings it in. Even though he's the highest overall player on this roster, we barely use him, so I had to make sure he got involved at least there. And our defense cannot give up points to Penn State before the half. We got to make the hit, because now they're just going to run down the clock, and they're not going to hike the ball again until there's only like 10 seconds left in this half. I'll definitely take a 4-point lead, because honestly, I feel like we could have played a lot better, and let's hope that our offense steps up in the second half, but Pat Smith is going to have no time on this first play. That is almost a pick, and I think you all can see why I like to just keep it on the ground with our team instead. We get better blocks whenever we just run. I don't know why, but that's the way our offensive line is set up. That's how we've recruited them, and that's another first. I mean, I'm still going to try and mix in the pass every so often where Zach Wilson's going to beat the press, and he should be able to outrun him to the house, but somehow they caught the kid with 99 speed, and Jay Atkins gets to the 2. We just need a few more yards, and Josh Hartman isn't making it, so we're going to pass on 3rd and goal, and Pat Smith senses the pressure. He's just going to scramble in, and he didn't dive. I hit square the dive button, but apparently he was not past the line of scrimmage when I did, and there is no way that we're going to take our 3 after getting all the way down the field, but our best player, Allen Brown, just dropped the ball. You've got to be kidding me. Maybe we can get a safety out of this. They've stiff-armed one of our guys, and I'm just going to keep on run committing, but it's not going to work here. Hill just got juked out by 43, and come on, Michael, you're going to have to get back to him. He can't go all the way. Well, this is not how I saw this game going. We were about to go up by 2 possessions, and now all of a sudden, Penn State has an opportunity to go down the field and take the lead. This is the type of competition we're going to need if we're going to be prepared for the playoffs, though, so that's a good thing, because if we make it, I'm sure those games will also be close, and come on, Kyle Patrick. You weigh way too much to let that guy just throw him off of you, and you're not going to make the tackle here either. So the Nittany Lions are knocking on the door, and Matt Small is all over the drag route, but we can't also guard Smith. He's rushed for almost 150 yards against our defense, which is disgusting, but I ran commit because I saw that guy motioning over, and sure enough, we're going to hold them to a field goal. Their backup was also in to throw that pass, but apparently their starter will be back in on their next drive, and their kickers made it, so we haven't had great return opportunities, but we're fine. We will figure things out offensively as Justin Stevenson gets open, and we got to just keep pushing things down the field. Pat Smith keeps the handoff, and this is going for 15 yards. I know we run the ball a lot, and you all don't like it. You want to see more passes, but now we're going to fumble it, so maybe we should be passing the ball more. Are you kidding me, Pat Smith? How do you drop the ball there? That's a touchdown. I'm hoping that they're going to say he was already on the ground, and to be honest, I should be challenging that anyway, so that's what we're going to do, but this could be really bad, and the ball was already out before he even touched the ground. It's always versus the actual good teams that we make these mistakes on the 2-point conversion they get in, but they are pressing Zach Wilson, so I want an opportunity to throw it up to him, and they stuck with him perfectly. That's another pick. Are you kidding me right now? I saw the blitz, so we had to get it out quickly, but they're just going to come away with it, and look at that interception from Green. I'm going to try to lateral it, and that was probably a bad idea, but I knew we had a defender that could have returned it for 6, and I'm just happy that we have the ball back in our possession. There we go. Even when we don't do well offensively, we have shown that we can keep up with teams, and nothing is open. Pat Smith should probably just run forward there, because this could be the quickest 3-and-out of all time, and they are all over Justin Stevenson, but he catches it and gets the first. Sometimes you have to fit it into those windows anyway, and it might be a tough squeeze, but you can make it work, which is all that you need. It is weird adjusting to playing very good teams after facing off against some of these MAC schools that have been incredibly easy for us, but all I can ask for is us to still have a chance in this one, and that's what we have as we're getting closer and closer to the end zone. Zach Wilson was open, but they generated enough pressure, making it 3rd and 6 where Jay Atkins is is in the game. I do not like this, but at least he picks it up. And the freshman should probably lose some weight in the offseason. He's not as quick as Josh. I'm glad Hartman's still out there though, because we can continue to run the ball and that's going to tie it up. Even when we're playing poorly, we can keep it close with any team. And I feel very confident in saying that we have a true title contender at this point. Kyle Patrick used it perfectly. So they're going to be held to a 3rd and 8. And I have a quarterback spy out there just in case they want to take off, but it's a halfback screen instead, and we have enough guys over it. This has been a battle, but they're actually punting it back to us, so Zach Wilson has an opportunity to put us in field goal range, and come on, buddy, just get around those blocks. Well, he couldn't do it there, but I'm going to give him another opportunity as he's going to catch this pitch, and he can definitely evade around that defender, but he's not going to outrun these guys. And to be honest, it's really not a problem because all we need to win is a field goal, and we're going to get there some way. I think Aaron Adams' range is from like 45 yards out, so we should be fine by now, but it won't hurt to continue running the ball and milk the rest of the clock before attempting it. I understand that we could have played 50 times better in this matchup versus them, but it's been a good learning experience, and we still dominated technically because we had 18 first downs to their 9, and it's time for our kicker to clutch up. They tried to ice him, but it didn't work, and that is game. So Aaron Adams puts it away for us, and now we just have to finish out the rest of the regular season, where we also play Michigan State still, but the others are MAC conference games, including 2 against in-state rivals, and since LSU lost, right now we have a first-round bye. We already beat Central, so I don't really care who wins this, because I think we're going to win the Michigan MAC rivalry either way, and the Broncos have really fallen off for a team that used to be good. I don't know what went wrong with their program, but now I fear teams more like Eastern Michigan, and we've been blessed with Joe Small being injured, because normally that guy thrashes us, but he sprained his elbow and he's sitting out, so that should make this matchup a lot easier than it would have been. But before we finish the rest of the season, a word from today's video sponsor, Prize Picks. There's only a few more football games left before it stops for a while, so you got to take advantage of this free square on Prize Picks, while pairing it with something else that'll probably hit like Pacheco rushing yards. I'm confident that I'm about to triple my entry fee, and if you want to support the channel, join me on Prize Picks or just have something fun to do while watching the NFL playoffs. Code BOARD or this QR code will double your initial deposit up to $100, and they're available in 31 different states, so make sure that you play responsibly, and let's get back to the video. We're starting on defense versus the Eagles, where their backup looks bad, and it makes me so happy to know that they are probably going to struggle. Look at this. They don't even know what to do offensively, and I'll never forget those times where they would just beat us, so now I'm just going to enjoy the fact that we should dominate in this one. We forced a 3-and-out instantly, and Zach Wilson's going to take this return for nothing, while also having a penalty tacked on as well, so the refs are trying to help out the Eagles as much as they possibly can, but I think they're going to have to do more than just that, and Pat Smith doesn't see anything, so he's going to run around, throw it on the run to Zach Wilson, who snags it with one hand, and that just makes me know that we have to throw the ball more, but it's also so nice to run as well when Pat Smith can get around those defenders. All he needs is a couple more blocks, and that is what he is going to get. However, I saw it, and you all probably did too, with Zach Wilson committing clipping. So we are back at midfield, and the ref is really making us work for points. He literally just threw another flag, and Pat Smith's not even out there on the field. It's John Davis, but he's going to hit his target in Mark Adams, and Mark Adams is gone. Please tell me this isn't coming back too. I sure hope it's not. I can't believe how quickly we just scored there, but they're going to burn our defense for a big gain. And Pat Smith's injury is pretty minor, so he'll be back immediately, but it's incredible how well John Davis can play at times. Here on 2nd and 5, it's a run and we're all over it, but one thing we haven't done out of this formation is send blitzes yet, and that's what we did. I really want to hold the Eagles scoreless, and their kicker is not going to be able to hit it from there. Zach Wilson also has the chance to return this kick, and this could literally change everything. One sack flipping the entire game for us, and Zach Wilson has like 1 or 2 guys to beat. He's going to swerve out of there, and this is a touchdown, assuming there's not clipping. That's also got to be like the longest return ever. Surely it is. We are breaking a record, and I don't know why it said fumble return, but it is what it is. I'm pretty sure we've done that in a previous video on the channel, but I don't think it was Grand Rapids, and you got to feel bad for Ron Warren because there's only so much that this guy can do. My goal for the rest of the season is to blow out teams, and I still don't think we have ever had a shutout, so I would love to get one with Grand Rapids, but they're so difficult to do whenever you play every single snap, and that's going to be a first. Still a really solid first quarter from us, especially since the Eagles are 6-1, but they're missing their star, and we have lucked out because if they weren't, this result probably wouldn't be as easy to get against them. I mean, they're starting to move it a little bit offensively, and I ran commit, but it isn't going to matter. They're going to slip out of there, and are you serious? That's a touchdown. I think we should try to bomb them deep, even though they refuse to press us, and they're all over Zach Wilson, so that's not going to work. Pat Smith is running around like he's a madman, and it is remarkable that we were still able to get 9 9 yards out of that. It's probably not a good thing how confident I am in our offense because I'll attempt a lot of dumb stuff, but these clipping penalties are starting to drive me nuts because I turn them on to balance out kick returns, but instead they've been coming on runs, and I hit triangle, but for some reason Pat Smith just didn't throw it, so now we go to Mark Adams. But obviously it didn't work, making this a 3rd and 25 where I wanted to go deep, and Eastern Michigan got in pressure in time. Well, maybe this one is not going to be as over as quick as I thought it would. We're going to have to get a good bounce on this punt, and look at that. It's going all the way to the 10-yard line. Let's hit him with the hit stick as well, and we better wake up because this is not going to be cake. I mean, Michael Hill should have had a pick 6 there, but he just decided to not catch the ball and have it hit his shoulder instead. The backup's not doing bad either, as he's made it 3rd and 1, but we stack the box and we're all over him. I take these rivalries very seriously. I do not want to see us struggle. Zach Wilson with a little back juke should give him a nice little speed boost to get around these players, and could this be his 2nd return of the day? There it is. He's taking it to the crib. He does not need a nerf. He is just that good. And our offensive unit doesn't even need to see the field, which is the best part, but they're going to break away. A nice run to start this drive. But that's our fault for giving them some really good looks. And now I'm trying to bring some more players down into the box, but that's when they decide to pass it on us instead. Another 3rd and short, but we're all over it again. And how is Allen still standing? I would have been so mad if he broke free there. And Eastern Michigan's actually going for it on 4th and 3. We're going to miss multiple tackles. Their backup running back is going to be gone unless Matt Small can catch up, and he cannot. I cannot believe that they are still competing with us. I was not expecting that. And we better get some more points before the half. I'm going to trust Mark Adams to beat them deep, and that throw from Pat Smith is on the money to the sophomore. Actually, I think he's a junior, but either way, I was just really excited because we have taken a 2-possession lead before the half, and they should just run it 1 or 2 more times. That will be it, as we're going to hit Ron Warren, and I don't understand why they are taking timeouts, but they wanted another chance. So we'll let them attempt to throw up the long Hail Mary, but there's simply no way it reaches the end zone, and we're going to come away with an interception with Grant Sanders. That's going to be nice to add to his stat sheet. And Zach Wilson has already returned 2 of these for touchdowns. Will he have a 3rd? Probably not. But we don't need it. We need to see what our offense can do anyway, and Josh Hartman gets us 10. The fact that they have come out pressing our entire team like this, though, has got to be a joke. There is simply no way that you're going to keep up with everybody, and really? Zach Wilson couldn't outrun their corner, and he must not have good release, but I think Mark Adams was gone on the other side of the field, so I'm going to stop staring down Zach Wilson whenever we want to beat a team over the top, and Josh Hartman comes away with the first. Maybe this is Jeff Shelby's chance to put in some work. I saw the look, and I'm going to launch it where he comes away, he catches, and he is in the end zone. Our junior wide receivers are both having good days, and both of them have done really well in the slot for us this season as our 3rd and 4th wide receivers, so that's definitely been nice to see them develop in that way. And come on, Ron Warren. It would be nice if he could do anything other than just run up the middle on every play, and he finally did, but we weren't prepared for it, so they've started to move it down the field, and here he goes taking off. We're not going to make the tackle on him, and that's going to get them like 20 yards. That's the last time I'm going to control the quarterback spy because I am not good at open field tackles, and come on, boys. Michael Hill should have had another interception, but the senior has butterfingers for hands, so this handoff to their 3rd string running back is going to get them a lot, and I'm a run commit on 3rd and inches because we knew it was coming, so at least they have to work for it to keep this drive alive, and they missed the pass. We had so many of those in our early seasons, so it's nice to see our opponents starting to struggle with that stuff now, and with a 21-point lead at this point in the game, I'm not going to show it all. We're just going to go down the field and see if we can score again. Ideally, the most important thing to me is some of our star players don't get injured because that would not be good to experience before the playoffs. So after this drive, they're all getting subbed out, and I think Justin Stevenson's gone, as that is 6. We ended the 3rd quarter in the right way, and with John Davis out there, the offense hasn't been the best, but he noticed on this halfback screen they were prepared for it, so he is going to take off, and look at the speed that this guy has at quarterback. He's crazy. Because of him, we'd end up winning 49-14, and we're starting to own every single school in Michigan, but it's mainly because of this guy right here, Pat Smith, who had a pretty good game, and everybody just ate today. We've taken full control of this series as well, so no matter what happens against Western, we've already won it, but Central is ranked now, so if they win out, there's always the chance that we could see them in the playoffs, and that'd honestly be awesome since we beat them by 23, but they still have a couple other MAC games remaining on their schedule, and some of these highly ranked playoff teams would have to lose in order for them to get in. Now it's our time to focus on playing Western though, and the war on Route 131 isn't what it used to be, because as of recently, we've just destroyed them, and I'm expecting the same today, but we'll see what happens. Their quarterback keeps it, getting them 7 yards on their first play, and we've never had to go up against Marshall Carter or this 45 guy, but he looks quick, and they seem to have an option rushing attack that might be difficult to stop. On 2nd down, it is another run. They've yet to pass the ball, but I can't blame them. It's working for them, and that's a fumble that they pick up. I don't know why the refs are even reviewing it, because either way, they're going to have possession of the ball, and I'm prepared for a handoff here, but that's when they decide to pass it for the first time, except they just decided to run instead, said, and how is their quarterback still up? The fact that we are still struggling to tackle in year 8 is a problem, because I am sure that there are some bigger schools that is going to be an issue against. But right now we can get away with it because we're facing off against MAC programs, and of course they're trying to run where the ball is loose and they're going to bounce on it. We've literally gotten it out of their hands twice, but we just haven't been able to come away with it, and there's no way that they get anything. So they're going to have to settle for 3. And if they don't have a good kicker, this isn't a gimme, but it looks like he is going to miss it. Wow, they did all of that work and they're still going to come away with 0 points on their first drive. So if I was a fan of the Broncos right now, I would be devastated, and this has been a really solid start for our quarterback. He's already rushed for 25 yards in 2 plays on their defense. And on 2nd and 10, the play action didn't really fake out anybody, but that's a bad throw. 3rd and long now. I want to take the out route to Wilson, and he is going to pick up the first for us while also getting even more. But I had to wait for him to run upfield, and we're going to have Jeff Shelby wide open down the middle of the field. All around, that was almost a perfect first drive. And Clint Bird's got to feel that one in the morning, but he's got a big gaping hole here that he can take. And until we can stop the run, we're coming out in 3-3-5 bear, where that was a good read from their quarterback to get yardage. So their new starter is not bad, and I see multiple different players open. Zone coverage does not work most of the time, but man-to-man isn't either, as Grant Sanders just got burnt by Pearson all the way to the 1. So it's about to be all tied up at 7, and that's not how I thought we'd end the first quarter. It might be a little delusional, but I thought we'd be able to put this one away by now because they're so bad, but Zach Wilson might help us with that, as he is going to find all of the open space on the left side of the field, and he's definitely winning the Jet Award again. There's no clipping penalties, so it is going to count, and there's no way that he's not breaking every kick return record in the book. They've not been popping up, but there's no way that anybody's had this many kick return touchdowns before. And on 3rd and 3, they're just going with the halfback draw, but it's going to work out for them. I hate that play call so much because it never works for me, but it always works for the computer. And are you serious? They just shedded that tackle. We're trying to play this as best as we can, making it a 3rd and 5 where we are going to smother that halfback screen. Kyle Patrick is all over that ball, and there is no way that anybody's catching him. The linebacker is going to take this one back to the house. It was a nice try from Western Michigan, but they're just going to struggle against our defense. We have forced a fumble, and we recovered it. We are stepping up big time right now, and look at that animation. We've never gotten to see this one before. I don't know why I just geeked out on that. I thought it looked sick, and Josh Hartman takes this handoff, where we have an opportunity to take a 21-point lead on this drive, and it was deflected. We had a man there, but now we're going to go with the quarterback wrap on 3rd and 2, and that'll work out. So now it's on Pat Smith to keep this drive alive, and sometimes you just have to take your flats on the play. It's not a highlight or anything, but it'll get the job done, keeping the chains moving. And we've been trying to run down the clock before halftime, as there's only a minute and a half left, but I think Western Michigan's going to get another possession, so there was really no purpose in doing that, and it is time for our defense to shine one final time, where they're going to give that one up to Neal. I really don't like whenever we play zone. I just feel like it doesn't work out the best for us, but we are covering things nicely until they find the open space in the zone. That's why it's right back to press man-to-man. I saw that number 12 burn us there, but we're going to stick with everything, and Grant Sanders should have had that interception. We're all over the halfback screen though, and I think they're also going to get hit with a clipping penalty, so they are well out of field goal range now, and that slant's going to get them another 10. Okay, come on. Do not let this guy get the entire first down. That was almost incredibly frustrating, and it still is, but they're throwing it away. So their kicker's forced to attempt another field goal, and this one is also going to go short. I'm literally not going to feel bad if this works. I'm just going to roll out and try to throw it up to Zach Wilson, but they're all over it, so we're going to take our slant, and I think we're going to get into field goal range. We need about another 10 yards for Aaron Adams, and that is brought in by Pat Walters. So we are doing our best to just run up the score versus our rivals. And I'd love to just chew the clock during the entire second half, but they stop us. And it's taken them almost 0 time to get down the field, which is very concerning. We cannot blow a 24-point lead to the Broncos, but they score. And on the 2-point conversion, it's another pass, and our man coverage was all over it. So we're very fortunate that they couldn't get a foot in, and we will see how these blocks set up for Zach Wilson. 2 guys just got pancaked, but he is going to unfortunately get caught. Well, it's a little too early to start chew clocking and everything yet. We're still only up by 18, so we need to have a little bit more success offensively, and Pat Smith should be fast enough to get around this defender, but he was not letting him get loose there, and Jay Atkins is in the game for this handoff. For our backup running back, once he gets warmed up, he's pretty solid, and this pitch goes over to Josh Hartman, who's just going to be better than him though. And it's crazy how young this team still is, because as long as players don't declare for the draft, we're going to have a lot of guys returning next year, but I'm sure that Pat Smith won't. And did our 2 receivers just run into each other? There's just another reason why we should keep it on the ground, and there's a lot of open space, but they're going to tackle Pat Smith. So maybe it'll be Josh Hartman who reaches the end zone, and he does. Western Michigan has a lot of work cut out for them, and we were all over that screen as well. So it is now 2nd and 15, where hopefully we can guard everything, and they just had to take their flat underneath. 3rd and 9. We need to generate some pressure, and Carter has all the time in the world, but they're not going to pick up the first. So from there, we've just been running away with things, as this next offensive drive has gone really well. Pat Smith is going to spin multiple of those defenders out, and this could be the greatest run of his career. He fights to the end zone. To be honest, I think that's one of the best ways we could have possibly ended the game, but that came at the end of the third quarter, and we've still had to run through a lot of clock. In the end, that would be the final touchdown though, and we obviously won the Michigan-Mac rivalry. And even though Pat Smith's stats weren't the best, I'm still happy with how we played because we didn't turn the ball over, and our defense and special teams units have been great. This is a beautiful sight to see, but we still have 2 MAC conference games left on our schedule, and then after that we play Michigan State, so hopefully we win out because I'd love to get a first round bye in the playoffs, and let's just make sure that we continue to take care of business. Most of our games have had pretty good weather so far, but it's becoming the point in the season where there should be a lot of snow, so we'll gladly take it being a clear day for this one because it could be one of our harder matchups. With the Rockets going into it at 7-3, we're going to go with the option here because this type of play normally works out well. We've gotten a nice block for Jeff Shelby, and he just has one guy to beat, but he couldn't quite do it, so we're just going to roll around and hopefully be able to hit our best player, Wilson, over the middle of the field as our first drive continues to go extremely well for us. And on 2nd and 2, it's man-to-man coverage, so Justin Stevenson gets open. That was another super easy touchdown for our offense, but we'll see how our defense does because we still have to be able to stop the Rockets. And they made a very quick read there, but we're going to get in the backfield on the next one and bring him down. Now on 2nd and 10, they're deciding to drop back and pass. I'm using Patrick, and Wilson is going to take off. We didn't have a spy on the field, which is unfortunate, and they're not fumbling. So evidently that's something that we're going to need to stop Jason Wilson. And he's a quarterback that we have faced off against in the past. They're going to pick up another first, but I can't remember much about him. I do know at one point Toledo was ranked this season, and he continues to run. So I am a little concerned that they could shock us, and over the middle of the field, Reed is open in the end zone. They did a very good job responding back there, but we have Zach Wilson, and he is not going to get anywhere. So we're just going to have success driving down the field offensively, and I think this is the same play that we ran earlier on in the game, and Jeff Shelby's going to have another opportunity to gash the defense. Can he outrun the defender? And this time he is going to do so. Sometimes I forget how fast the junior really is, and this is a running formation, so we knew they'd probably go with it, but we still were not able to stop 37. George Herring's going to break a tackle, and they also got a good block, so he's going to be gone. Nobody's going to catch him. This game is already turning into a shootout, and we just have to make sure that we keep up offensively. Zach Wilson on this kick return is going to get a little bit better blocks, and he's going to get around that left edge. Could he take this to the house and extend our lead? I guess not, but we are going to look to take a lead on this drive, and that's going to be 7. There's still about a minute remaining in this first quarter, and that was a beautiful route from Jeff Shelby, who's going down to the 1. So he's playing well, and we're just going to give it to him on this jet sweep where he reaches the end zone. 35 combined points in 1 quarter, and I think we'll be good if we can stop their rushing attack, but again, they got a couple of good blocks, and there's no way that this guy's about to gash us for another touchdown. This is getting ridiculous. George Herring is by far the best player that we faced all year, and Zach Wilson set us up pretty for our last drive, so maybe he can get another good return. I'm seeing some solid blocks on this one, and with his speed, he's not going to be able to get by everyone, but he has gotten us to about midfield, and I think we had Stevenson deep, but he's going to fumble it away to Toledo. They're picking it up. Don't tell me that he's about to break free and take this back to the house. What is happening in this game? So far, the Rockets are literally playing perfectly against us. That is what scares me, and they're going to get a touchdown. So we have given up 28 points in the first quarter, and it looks like that's how it's going to end, though there are some good blocks, and this would just be ridiculous. If Zach Wilson takes this to the house, we have combined for 56 points in 1 quarter. We have never been in a game like this before, but I'm pretty sure we struggled against Toledo last year, and I know we did against Western, who's next up on our schedule, so it's going to be tough to end the season. We're certainly not guaranteed a playoff spot, even though we have some really good results on our schedule, and Kyle Patrick isn't going to be able to bring down Jason Wilson there. Come on. Even having a quarterback spy out there doesn't do the trick, and their running back already has 166 yards on us. The game just started a quarter ago. We are getting a little bailed out, though, and the fact that we need help like that versus Toledo's kind of sad, but I left their running back wide open. So it is now 3rd and 15 where we're trying to stop them for the first time, and we're going to. They're out of field goal range too, so they're just punting it back to us, and that is a miracle because I wasn't sure if we'd ever be able to stop their offense. We've had to pitch this one out last second to Josh Hartman, and look at him swerving around all of those defenders. He might be large, but he was running circles around them, and Zach Wilson's going to get a lot of separation on this play. So we should continue to have a lot of success offensively, but that shouldn't be a surprise. I am going to look for the deep post on this play, and I think we might have the route bounce. I'm going to just throw it up, and come on, we're not getting over to that. It wasn't even intended for Jeff Shelby, but he probably could have gotten to it. Now we needed that to get open, and they pressed us for just long enough. So it's kind of weird, but the defenses are starting to step up, and that is a great punt. I think we all know the run is coming, but I wasn't expecting a fullback dive there, so they picked up a good chunk, but they still have to figure things out on 2nd down, and of course Wilson is able to outrun our defense. He doesn't even make a read. He's just instantly off to the races, so this time I a quarterback contain and a spy out there, but he still managed to get 6 yards. So Matt Small lighting that hole up on third down's a big deal, and this should be picked off, but it's okay. We're going to call a timeout, and assuming we put together a good drive, we should be able to take a lead before the half. Jeff Shelby catches this ball, and he's going to get out of there. None of those defenders can make a tackle on him, and maybe we need to be getting him some more touches. Whenever he's actually able to reel it in, he makes a big difference, and this is a nice weapon to be discovering right before the playoffs. Come on, Wilson, we're ready for it. Their offensive line also had a false start, so now I'm kind of tempted to see if we can get the ball back before the half, and it is now 3rd and 12 where they just run it again, which we're going to make the tackle. Then we're going to call our last timeout, and we'll see if it pays off, but with the way our offense has been moving, I feel like we have a good shot of getting into field goal range and taking a 2-possession lead, but we also need quite a few yards, and Jeff Shelby gets open, but he's getting tackled inbounds. This is the final snap of the half. I've gotten it off, and we're just going to throw it up to Zach Wilson, who got boxed there. That's going to be picked off as well. So not the ending I thought that we were going to get, and I'm surprised that they kept up with his 99 speed. They are getting ball to start the 3rd quarter, which is why I wanted points. And to be honest, I would much rather play in competitive games than just blow everybody out, but it's also tough because I want to go into the playoffs undefeated and at least make the playoffs. So we have to be careful because if we lose 2 matchups, especially at this point in the season, we probably wouldn't get in, and we still have Western Kentucky, Michigan State, and the MAC championship. How did they just get out of there, and how's he still going? He literally just hurdled from the start as a joke, and Toledo is toying with a top 4 team right now. 2nd and 6, this one's going to be a pass, so we should be able to stop them. I knew you were going to try and scramble, and this is how Western Kentucky's quarterback plays too, so it is good practice for us. We forced the fumble. We're going to pick it up with Williams, and there is a bunch of green grass in front of him. There's no way that anybody comes close to catching him, and that is a touchdown. Jordan Williams was in the right place at the right time, and we needed that break so bad because they got one in the first half, and now we forced our own fumble. That is why I always go for the hit sticks on every player, and it might lead to some missed tackles, but whenever it works out, I feel like it definitely pays off, and we'll keep doing it. Up to this point, Jason Wilson still hasn't thrown an incompletion, but we've played so well that we have a 2-possession lead, and that slant's going to get them like 15 yards. All right, the Rockets are going to continue to drive it down the field on us, and this is one that we're not going to be able to end very early on, but we'll see what they draw up on 3rd and short, and Kyle Patrick is going to have to make the hit here on Wilson as he's just running around everyone. I struggle so much to stop quarterbacks that play like this. I feel like they always get open, and he put his head down, running right into a sack, so we're very fortunate that Kyle Stevens was in the right place at the right time, and we're going to get another one. We have forced the ball loose. We're going to pick it up with Luke Anderson, and the freshman is not going to be fast enough to outrun 83, but he's going to fight for as much as he can. It took us all game, but we have figured out how to shut down this Toledo offense, and Josh Hartman just wants it more. I love how well everybody on our team is playing, and credit to the Rockets for how they started this game. I thought it was going to be a bloodbath till the end, but our defense started to hold things down, and that blitz is not going to keep up with Jeff Shelby. This has got to be the best that he has ever played. We're just going to continue to try and clamp them. Maybe we'll force another fumble, and on 2nd and 4, man-to-man coverage again, Wilson's trying to take off, but he's not going anywhere. I am so proud of our defense for finally shutting them all down, and this 4th and 4 is for the game where those slants are open. We're going to see if he tries to throw it. Now he's running, and this should be picked off. That's it. That's his first incompletion, and it also might be the last time that he sees the field. We're going to try to run as much clock out as possible, but of course the refs want to make it harder than it should be, so we're back on a 2nd and 11 where Josh Hartman keeps it and gets another 8 or 9. We've dominated in every aspect, so we're going to go for it on 4th down, and if we pick this up, we're just going to take 3 knees, which is what Jay Atkins is going to do. The undefeated regular season stays alive, and what a game from Jeff Shelby, who put up some incredible numbers on very limited touches, being our leading rusher and our leading receiver. We also landed Freddie Martin and Alex Bell, but we did get locked out of one of the recruits that I wanted to get, and Central Michigan lost to Northern Illinois, so we're not going to see them in the playoffs. Ever since they dropped us down to number 4, these rankings really haven't budged, but we have another skill point available, so that'll increase the chance of the computer telling us what the other team's running, and I'd love to have that advantage for the playoffs. Ever since we've unlocked it, I've yet to see it work though, so it would be nice if it could start to at this point. And of course, the Hilltoppers still have DJ Walker at the helm, who's really good. Last season, they went up 17-0 on us before we'd end up coming back and holding them to no points after that, but it's always a tough one whenever we have to play against the Hilltoppers, who joined the MAC conference with us at the same time, and so far their offense has looked pretty solid. DJ Walker breaks that tackle, and we're going to force him into a fumble. Please land on this, Sanders. Let's go. That is such a clutch stop, and that's 2 seasons in a row that we've made a quarterback fumble like that now, but that's nowhere near as bad as the one that the Buffalo quarterback did, where he just chucked it 15 yards behind him, and I think Pat Smith is going to be able to take this one all the way. That was quick, but we've already put up 7 points, and our offense is starting to play the way I expected it to, and it just took years of pain to get to this point. We're going to make the tackle again, and the poor Hilltoppers are backing up even more. I want to take care of business early. I do not want it to be close the same way last season's was, and nothing is open for DJ Walker to to take. We're going to bring him down. So that's why you put a quarterback spy out there. And this season, we were prepared to play somebody like him. We've experienced it before. So they have to punt from their own end zone. And even if Zach Wilson doesn't have a crazy return here, our field positioning is going to be really good. So in order to score, our offense really shouldn't have to do that much. And they were all over that wide receiver screen. So we're just going to give the Josh Hartman where he laid out 2 dudes. And if he was warmed up, that would have definitely been a touchdown. We are going to try to roll around with Pat Smith and then throw it over to Wilson though. So it's unfortunate that it didn't work out, but I did try to get him a target. And now we find ourselves on a 3rd and 13 where I'm going to feed it up the seam to Allen Brown. I'm not sure he's touched the rock ever since he dropped that ball in the last game. We're all over Coach on this one. He's going nowhere. And to be honest with you, I don't know what Western Kentucky can do differently. We are just clamping him up on all levels of the game. DJ Walker clearly is no help on his team because he's like a 90 overall. And to be that good as a senior, you should have a very good program around you. Zach Wilson's going to spin those guys out though, and let's see if we can get some more points. Of course, we're going to start it on the ground as well because that's where we have a majority of our success. Josh Hartman needs to truck this guy, and it's time to see if the play action is going to fool them. I don't see anything open, but we have Pat Smith who's able to just run like that. There's really so many options of things we can do offensively. Zach Wilson gets the wide receiver screen, and it caps off a perfect first quarter. This might be the quickest that we have ended a game all season, assuming we can keep this up. And this is the first time that we're getting a hint, so I hope you all were able to see it. That is what that ability does. It's very rare it pops up, and I just wanted to attempt a deep shot. At this rate, I know that we're going to beat Western Kentucky, so I am not concerned at all in how we do it. And the only reason that my confidence can be that through the roof is because we're performing on another level. I have never seen our program do this well, but we're going to give up 9 or 10 yards. And I just remember being in so many close battles last season, but this year things have been much different for us, and look at that. It's just clamps all around on the field. The computer's always going to find the open guy, but even in that scenario, they were only able to get like 4 yards. And what has happened here? Why is 84 going to the end zone like this? Knock him out of bounds. Just when I'm ready to end the game, it's like the Western Kentucky offense has decided to open up a little bit, and they've gotten themselves at least a field goal, but I would assume that they would want more, and DJ Walker does. It says it's going to be an inside tackle run though, so that's where it's helpful because we're able to run commit, and it's rare that we get hints, but when we do, I will mention it. So if it's a feature you all don't want to see next year, it's something I can take away, and on 3rd down, we get the sack. They have no choice but to settle for a field goal, and I want Zach Wilson to end it right now. I want him to take this return, make it 28-3, and look at that. He finds the open gap. He is quick, and there is one guy that might have caught him, but he's not going to make it there. It's 28-3. We just have to figure out how to get one more stop on the Hilltoppers, and that could have been it, but the interception was dropped, and I am going to send in a blitz at DJ Walker. 3rd and long. This looks like a wide receiver screen, but they're going to go deep on us, and that was a great play call. I bit down and it worked in their favor, but then we send 7 guys at them, and it seems like DJ Walker does not know how to handle the pressure. I'm going to get the user interception with Jay Green, and I think he is gone. There's no way that anybody catches him. So look at the sophomore linebacker putting in the work. Now, I'm not going to lie. Throughout the second half, the Hilltoppers have done a much better job of keeping up, but we should get a stop on 4th down here, and that'll help us seal a massive win, but we didn't even have an opportunity to play our backups. We still had a really good day with Pat Smith having 5 touchdowns, but I have to give the Hilltoppers credit for how much of a fight they put up in the second half. Now, you all might be angry at me for not showing it, but I felt like it wasn't that important, and we obviously made our conference championship where we're going to play against Akron. Between that and the Michigan State game, that's all that stands between us and the playoffs, but it's very clear that we have to keep winning because if we don't, we're not going to have a first round bye, so we're going to have to take care of business versus our rivals, and quarterback Jeremy Flowers is still a Spartan. He's never fun to face off against, but we are getting to start with the ball, so we're not going to see him yet, and Zach Wilson takes the opening kickoff for a huge gain. He might not get caught here. Okay, maybe he did, but it's all good because at least we're going to start on the Spartan side of the field, and Pat Smith's going to get like 6. That is plenty for the first play of the game, and we're going to continue to run the option. I just saw multiple good blocks on that one. He's juking to the outside, and will he take this one to the crib? Again, what a start for our offense. And the game said that the Spartans were going with a shotgun pass on this first play, but the question is, are we going to be able to stop it? And we can. Now on 2nd and 7, they're going with another throw, and we are all over everything, but they're going to get my user. So it's a good thing that they didn't count it as a catch, and the reason for that is as he was falling down, he made sure to get a foot in, but he didn't make sure to hang on to the ball. That means it is 3rd and 7, and I think this was a wide receiver screen. We should be all over it. I'm going to hit Smith, and it's very obvious that this roster is ready for the playoffs. We have been dominating everybody that we've played against recently, and this is not different. We've already put up 7 points and gotten a stop, and I'm so confident this drive will result in the same, but the Spartans did sack us there, so it's now 2nd and 15 where we're just going to roll out and take our hitch over to Justin Stevenson. If we could get like 5 more yards on this play, I would definitely say that this is 4 down territory. So we've got something drawn up for 4th and inches, and Pat Smith is going to see the open lane. That is exactly what we were looking for there, and you're not going to be able to keep up with our receivers in man-to-man coverage. So it's just not smart to blitz us, and once again, they have some whack coverage out there that we're going to dot up. We could not be off to a better start than this. It is going extremely well well for us, but they are going to break that tackle, and we got to bring them down, which is why we're now in a run defense formation, and that's going to make it so much easier to get over to the ball. It's the one thing that we struggle to stop, so we can't let him do it to us. That's going to be picked off by Stevens, and Kyle Stevens, our strong safety, is a monster. Look at him. He might be able to take this all the way back to the crib. He is going to get caught, but he's put us in great field positioning, and Joseph Flowers is shook up. We are literally starting to own Michigan State with how well we've been playing against them recently. And I don't know what Pat Smith was trying to hit there, but he's going to laser it to Mark Adams, so that gets us down to the 1 yard line, and he's getting tackled. They are not making it easy to punch it in, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. We're going to pitch it over to Jeff Shelby, and we just continue to lose yardage, but I think Pat Smith can run around, and let's see if he makes it to the end zone. Surely at this rate, he was going to set a school record. And will the Spartans ever get anything going offensively? So far in this game, it's not looking good for them, and they are just going to avoid taking a sack there. But our man-to-man coverage looks amazing, so there's no reason to switch things up, and we should pick that. I might regret giving them a different look on third down, but that's what I'm doing, and we are all over it with our zones. So we're going into the second quarter, and we already have full control of this one. It's pretty much over. It won't even matter what happens with this return, but Zach Wilson will probably pull something off here, and he is going to get us to the 40-yard line and break a tackle. From this point forward, we're just going to be bouncing around showing off the highlights, but this might be a highlight in itself as Josh Hartman just spun out 2 of those defenders, and we're not cutting anything. That's the first play. It is crazy how much better we have gotten as a team, and I don't even know what they're doing on third down now, but it is not working out for them, and we're going to try to end the first half by just running out the rest of the clock. Mark Adams got this pitch though, and there's so much green grass in front of him, I think he's just going to take it for 6 himself. I mean, eventually they were bound to work it down the field on us, but I feel like we could clamp up on this 3rd and 7, and come on, boys. I kind of wanted to hold them scoreless, but I don't think it'll be possible. And on 2nd and goal, they're actually throwing it when they should have just run it, so we should be able to lock all of this up, and I couldn't stick with him. I don't think there's any reason to worry because we've just been chewing the clock. We're going to take it to the half unless this throw goes well, and Jeff Shelby reels it in. Well, now we might as well try and reach the end zone. This is man-to-man coverage, and you cannot stick with Justin Stevenson, but apparently they can. Fortunately, that would be the last turnover of the game, and John Davis would get plenty of playing time and experience as we cruise to a 52-7 win over our in-state rivals, and they're probably terrified of us joining the Big Ten next year, but I think that's one of the only conferences that would make sense for us. And in order to get an invite, all we have to do is win a MAC conference championship next week. It's against a 67 overall team, so I have an idea of how this will probably go, but we have to be careful because Ball State put up a good fight last year, and Bowling Green was a 67 overall, but they also did well against us this season, so we will see. From what I've been able to see so far, they're going to be a very run-heavy team, which is not good for us as they're going to break that tackle, and we struggle to stop the run, so I'd love to see them pass where our man coverage clamped up. Now they're going back to the option, so we're simply going to run commit and hope for the best. Where we should have made that tackle there, they pitch it last second, and Matt Small hits him. All right, this is a great opportunity to get them off the field, but they hit us with a wide receiver screen underneath, and that's a first. They seem like one of those teams that's going to drag on for as long as they can, so we need to put this one away early, and they're definitely in Wildcat, but they threw the ball anyway, so it's 3rd down again, and we're not going to let a wide receiver screen beat us this time, but our zones just aren't going to do their job. We had a yellow in that exact spot, but now they're back in Wildcat, and Kyle Stevens is going to jump at the legs, making it 2nd and 4, and they literally just went back to the same thing. Surely we can now get them off of the field on 3rd down, but I'm not going to stick with all their routes, and they had people open. Back in Wildcat again, it's something that they just don't like to go away from, and I think they're about to get a first. So at least we made the tackle because that could have been really bad, and Kyle Patrick just made a huge play. Now that it's 2nd and goal from the 15, it's going to be hard for them to reach the end zone, but we missed the tackle on them. So that sets up a 3rd and manageable where we just have to make sure that this drag doesn't get open. They love to take it in this scenario, and why do they have that much time in the pocket? Luckily, they're not going to count it as a touchdown, and I'm shocked that they're not reviewing it. This roster has to be playoff ready, so that means we make a good play like this, and look at Zach Wilson. He is getting the exact blocks that he needs. Nobody is catching him. That is what we needed to turn things around. We always have success versus the lower overall teams on kick returns, but Matt Small misses the tackle, and it's so hard to make it when you're clicked on. We do a good job of setting up the right angle to bring him down, but then you also have to make the play. And it's almost the second quarter, but our offense still has not touched the field. We should have gotten a sack on Chris Henry there. How is he still standing? It amazes me sometimes how good the computer can play, but the fact that we struggled for so long is what makes this series so fun, and that one is on me. That's not a great way to end the first quarter, but at least we have a lead, and with this run, Richardson's going to be gone to the house. However, they have missed their extra point, and at this point in the season, I will not feel bad if we get like 5 kick returns versus a team. It is time to use Zach Wilson to the best of our ability, and there we go. As you can see, we have 0 offensive stats, and they've already run 21 plays on us, just showing how much they've dominated holding the ball. I had a feeling things would be that way, but it should be all good. We're going to hit Josh Hartman, and this is not the time for for us to start having some offensive struggles like that. There we go. That's a great run. And it's just another reminder of why we keep it on the ground instead of throwing it as much as we have to. I mean, Josh Hartman is literally running people over right now, and I want Pat Smith to make this guy miss. But he didn't, so we're back to throwing the ball, and he's just going to scramble to the left side of the field, which they have left wide open. Now it's time to see what they put together on this third drive. I'm very surprised that they passed here. And they're in 5 wide, so they must be doing it again, but nope, they have somebody coming over. This is definitely a run, and we're all over it. They always seem to make a play on 3rd and long, though, so we have to step up, and we do, which is big. I'm about to have to really lock in for some of these playoff games because I don't know how difficult they're going to be, and we cannot be a first-round exit again. Right now, we are definitely title contenders, so we just have to make sure that we perform at a high level, and that halfback angle route's going to be missed. This is not the time for Pat Smith to start missing throws. At least he hit Zach Wilson for the first, and there's a reason that the former Heisman winner wasn't even in the Heisman race this season, but look at him go. I feel like he's played pretty well, but there's no way that his stats are better than they were last year, and it said beware of the man blitz, which is an awesome hint to have because now we're just going to hit Jeff Shelby. Andrew Luck having that ability is literally game-changing because knowing what the other team is doing even 5% of the time makes all the difference. I mean, obviously it worked for Michigan because they stole signs and then won a championship, so that's pretty much what we're doing whenever we get that input, and I know they did not just press Zach Wilson. You all are not good enough to do that. That's an easy score. Even nicer, it's a 69-yard touchdown for him, and at one point in this game, I thought Akron was going to put up a really good fight, but now things are looking a lot better for us, and come on. All we have to do is make sure that they don't have a good drive here, and we're just going to leave the flat open where I'm going to miss the tackle. So it's all good. Now it's 2nd and 5 where they're going to come very close to picking it up, but they didn't give it to them, so we're run committing on 3rd down, and we stop them. We're going to do the same thing on 4th and 1 because obviously they feel like they have to go for it, but there's no way that 25 is going to get around our defense like that. They're going to score a touchdown on us. As much as I wanted to say that this one is over, it is far from it, and we got to get a good return with Zach Wilson. That would really help this team out. I saw a couple of really good blocks on this side, and he breaks that tackle. So once again, we're starting our drives in a really good position, but that won't be the case in the playoffs. Here on 2nd and 6 with the quarterback wrap, again, Pat Smith has the ball, and that defender just warped to him, but it's all good. I'm still confident that we will pick up this 3rd and 2, and Jeff Shelby is going to actually reel it in. Look at that. He's performing pretty well. He's probably dropped like 7 balls in his career, but that is exactly what he's known for. And once they can no longer run the ball, but they have to pass, that's when I think they're going to struggle. I feel like it's already getting to that point because time is not on their side, and they just went backwards, so we could get them off the field on 3rd down where the jet sweep is going to go short. Now, I can't understand why they'd punt here after going for it on the last possession and it working out in their favor, but it's going to help us greatly as Zach Wilson takes it, and he might have a touchdown. He is going to break free, and that is going to the crib. From there, it should be over as we've gotten them to a 3rd and 10, and we're going to hold them, so we're getting the ball back again. And with 2 clock being turned on now, I have a feeling that we're going to burn through the rest of the time. The only reason we wouldn't is because our rushing attack's just been that dominant, and here's another touchdown. So that was a nice way to end our 2nd conference championship, where this has to be the final season that we play in the MAC, and it was a good run. I had a great time here, but Pat Smith and Zach Wilson are setting this program up, and now we're ready for bigger and better things. Stat-wise, Pat Smith didn't even have to throw the ball that much because we just dominated everything on the ground, and Georgia's running back won the Heisman for them, but of course, Wilson won the Jet Award again, and it looks like Michigan's going to be on our side of the bracket as a 5 seed. Before we see who we play in the quarterfinals, we have to check out our season stats, and I gotta say, our rushing attack definitely regressed with Josh Hartman having way less yards and touchdowns, and I feel like receiving didn't get much better for many players besides Jeff Shelby. As for our defense, it's no surprise that the 2 Kyles led the team in tackles, and freshman Luke Anderson isn't quite as good as Joel Johnson, but he had 7.5 sacks, while we had these 4 defensive players all tied for the most interceptions on our team. For returning though, this is where it gets crazy as Zach Wilson averaged 1 touchdown return a game, and he obviously has the NCAA records for the longest returns, but unfortunately there isn't one for most in a season, and if you look up a list of the most a player's ever gotten in his career, he is crushing all of these guys. Now it's time to see who our quarterfinal matchup is against, and I don't want to face either of these teams because USC is who knocked us out last year, and we're the only team that's beaten Michigan this season, so either way I'm not looking forward to it, but we're playing the Trojans. They beat Michigan by 10 somehow, and I have not forgotten about the name John Wiley, who apparently was 6'7" last year when he took us down. Hopefully this season Pat Smith can just stay healthy, and it's time to see if we can get our first playoff win ever. I'm excited, but at the same time I'm nervous because we cannot let the same program knock us out twice, and it's taking place in the Rose Bowl, so they have a clear advantage, but you know what, it is all good. We're going to see what Zach Wilson can do against a real school on a kick return, and he's juking those guys out. He might not have gone anywhere, but there is potential for it in the future, and Josh Hartman gets us 7. At this point in the season, we have to do whatever it takes to get the win, so that means running, but we have to be careful with Pat Smith because he got hurt last year, so I'm going to really lean on Josh Hartman, and he got blown up. It said watch for the man zone, whatever that means. It's man-to-man coverage with some zone as well. I don't understand, but we're going to pick it up anyway, and let's just keep this first drive moving down the field where we got some some amazing blocks there, and Pat Smith has a lot of green grass in front of him, but he gets caught. That was so close to being a touchdown, but it's okay. He's going to have to avoid taking a sack here, and that's not good. There were some routes open, but I got greedy, and it's man-to-man coverage, and the corner route is not going to get open. Why was that defender still standing there? They've already picked us off. He was supposed to stick with Jeff Shelby, but he got cooked so bad that he was right there on the ball, and that is not how we wanted to open this one up. Here on 2nd and 6, I was expecting the run, but they've decided to pass, and John Wiley is going to have to go down. How is this guy still standing? He's going to shed a tackle, and you know what? He is 6'7", so it makes sense that he would be hard to bring down, but at the same time, he's just a unit, and come on, boys, we can't give this up. This is going about as terribly as it could have from the start. Kyle Stevens needs to force a pick, but they just slide, and he is playing offense the way that it is so hard to stop players with, but we're going to get the sack. So we have forced a 3rd and 7 where they should not have anything open. We got a lot of players drop back. We just got to generate some pressure, and there it is. We needed Michael Hill to hold on there, and I hope the senior cornerback does not live to regret that. We're just going to have to bounce back on this next drive. What would be super nice is if our jet winner could pull something off. He made 2 guys miss. He has some blocks in front of him, but he's not getting around everybody, or maybe he is. Look at this return. That is Zach Wilson making the difference that we need. He does it against every school, and you know what? He averages a kick return in a game for a reason. That is just incredible from him. That makes up for our interception now. I cannot believe it, but they have burnt us on the right side of the field. Michael Hill is struggling so far, and he is not making that tackle quick enough. He was literally riding him, and that's just so frustrating, but you know what? We'll be all right, because I'm sure we'll come up with a stop, and on 2nd and 2, I'm going to have to pick that up, so they're going to get the first. If you all saw it, their tight end was wide open. Nobody came close to trying to guard him, and look at this run from Wiley. Force the fumble, please. He set them up for a 1st and goal where I would love to hold them again, and to be honest, I feel like we could pull it off as we have guys all over him, so the 2nd quarter is going to start with a big play, and here we go. 3rd and goal. We just got to clamp up, but we don't. It is all good. We have Zach Wilson in for a reason. This is why we have him. We want him to make a difference. We're going to make that guy miss again. It is the same thing to this left side of the field, and now it's on our offense to finish off what he started. Josh Hartman takes this carry, and who would have thought he would have the speed to get to the outer edge like this? I don't think he's lost any weight either, so that's incredibly impressive, and we just got to keep it moving down the field. Pat Smith keeps this one, and I bet they're going to bite, so that's when we pitch it last second. Pat Walters getting a touch here, and he's a redshirt sophomore, but every so often we see him getting involved, and this is a bad play call. It sets us up for a 2nd and 14, but we do have somebody wide open, and that's Jeff Shelby. I've been really happy with him recently, and on 3rd and inches, we are going to let Justin Stevenson pick it up for us. So fortunately, the drive stays alive. Pat Smith keeps it, and that's a touchdown, or he fumbled it away. Are you kidding? I feel like I need to challenge this. It's happened so many times in this series, but we all know that he probably just lost it on the dive, and he did. That is our 2nd turnover, and those lose you games. We cannot be dealing with them like this, and I'm not sure if this team's going to be able to win a championship, but we had a pick in our hands, and John Wiley's got to be rattled, so we are sending the crib on 3rd down. It is 8 people in his direction, and he literally just lost 8 yards. We needed to make him panic there, and we did. Zach Wilson's going to juke to the left, and he's caught. They are kind of pressing him, though, on that left side of the field, so I do want to explore trying to get it over to him, and look at him breaking free. Zach Wilson is gone to the house. If any player has made the difference in this game for us, it's him, and he's the only reason we're up by 4 right now. Our fans got a little confused and spray-painted navy on their chest, but at least they still have our team colors on, and let's see what they do here. Luke Anderson is going to get the sack. Our defense is starting to step up for us. On 2nd and 10, we should hit him, and Kyle Patrick just laid the hammer, so it is 3rd and 6. They want to stick with these slants, and I can't guard it all. If it weren't for those turnovers, we would be sitting in a great position in this game right now, but instead, approaching halftime, they're driving down the field, and I do not want them to get points, because they also get the ball to start the 3rd quarter, and that would not be good for us. John Wiley taking off. We're going to hit him hard, and it does not matter. He's not fumbling, but I just have to hope that eventually he will, and we got cooked there, but he's still scrambling. He doesn't even make a read. He just takes off instantly. We're all over what he wanted to go with, and that's a sack. It's not for much, but I'll take it, and I'm not going to let him escape the pocket again. We forced the ball out. Pick it up. Come on. We needed that so bad. I have everybody backed up. We're not going to let them convert on this 3rd and long, assuming we can just make a hit. And going into the half, we're going to be up by at least 1 as that goes in. Ideally, we could use another return, though. That is what I'm hoping for, but it won't work. So we're just going to run one more play, and if it worked out, we would take the points here. Pat Smith just juked to the outside, and can Pat Smith outrun this defense? I was not expecting to go for a field goal, but if we can get to the 30-yard line, we could attempt one, and Allen Brown isn't going to reel it in. That is so unfortunate, and I don't even know if I'll get this Hail Mary off. They send a blitz in, it's going to be knocked away. So unfortunately, we couldn't come away with anything there, but I'm happy with the fact that we're still on top after those 2 turnovers, and I bet they're going to go with a pass on 2nd and 8, so we're just going to clamp up, but I didn't have a quarterback spy out there, and John Wiley knew immediately. He has already rushed for 100 yards on us, while their actual running back has yet to have a positive game, and our defense is all over that. Here we go. This is a big 3rd and 12. They went with with 4 verticals. I hope our coverage can hold them deep. And what are you doing, Michael Hill? They're going to get in, and they're also going for the 2-point conversion. And of course, that's when Myron Joseph does well. All right, it's on our offense to respond back, and it would be nice if we could start in good field positioning. But Zach Wilson did not make that happen, and we're going to take this for a few yards. I feel like we need to keep it on the ground. Josh Hartman's having a pretty solid game, but we also need to find more ways to get the ball into the hands of Zach Wilson, and there's another first. I wish it wasn't Mark Adams coming around on the end around. If that was Zach Wilson, this play would literally be a cheat code because we just pitch it to the fastest player on the field, but it still works. And USC's defense has got to be tired because we continue to have success versus them. But I have seen stuff like that be a fumble before, so that was very scary. And on 2nd and 9, it looks like they're going with some zone coverage, so we'll go underneath. Mark Adams just made his first catch of the day, and he's been very involved with our offense as of recently, especially on this drive. Pat Smith, that was bad, and that wasn't how I intended to juke, but now it's 3rd down. We have got to pick this one up, and we have somebody open. It is brought in, so we're relying on a sophomore to make that catch, and the sophomore I actually want to get the ball to is going to touch it here where he gets some nice blocks, and this should go to the house if he can get around the edge, but that would have been asking for a lot there. Pat Smith keeps it, and there we go. There's a tutty. I obviously did not learn my lesson because I dove for that as well, but Aaron Adams is going to tie it all up at 21, and he has still never missed an extra point. I hope I didn't jinx it, but I should always make them. I'm not simming them anymore. John Wiley's trying to scramble. Let's bring him down. Come on. Eventually, he's just going to trip himself over. And on 2nd and 17, I am ready for it with cover 3. They just go with the handoff, and let's make the tackle here. I think we got to go with man-to-man because zone did not work the last time for us, and they're just going to dump it off. We're going to make the hit, and we've stopped the Trojans. They're not going with a fake punt. It is going back into the hands of Zach Wilson, and it is your time to shine, buddy. You see this right side of the field. You're going to get some good blocks, and there's only a few players to beat here. Unfortunately, it is going to come back, though, and that's a rough ending to the 3rd quarter, but at least we still have the ball. Pat Smith is going to get a great block from his tight end. There's only one guy to beat on this edge, and now there's 2 of them. I'm seeing a lot of great things from us offensively, though, and I love that Jeff Shelby just got that wide open, so it's fine that we decided to pass on 1st down, and with this counter, I went backwards. I did not mean to do that, but now we have to be very careful on 3rd and 1, and that's what's going to happen. We're going to pitch it last second to Jeff, and he got caught, but he will move the chains for us, so I feel like all is good. I'm much more comfortable with us having control of this game, and that's a laser to Mark Adams. I like it being in the hands of our offense because even though our defense is really good, we know that we can trust our offense. Pat Smith broke multiple ankles, and we have not been careful with him like I said that we needed to, but it's all good because he's still healthy and he wants to end college on the right note. I can almost guarantee that he's probably just going to declare for the NFL draft, but if we can't win it all, maybe not, and we've hit him with the play action where we have somebody open, Miller's getting in, and fullback Luis Miller, who is now a senior, does something for the team. It is very rare that you see him make a play, but the guy's like an 89 overall, and he made the difference for us there on 1st and 10. I could not stick with Flowers. He looks very quick, and come on. We know that USC is passing, and all we have to do is stop them one more time, but that could be a little difficult, and they've just handed it off, which is not going to work out for them, or maybe it will. How? I don't understand how we didn't bring down Myron Joseph there, but Jones is fighting for a lot, so it would make sense for them to continue to keep things on the ground, but that's not what they're going to do, and Wright gets them to the 15 or the 10. This is where our defense has got to step up. We've done it inside the red zone before, but we know that they want to run the ball, and come on, force the fumble. I'm so hopeful that if we keep hit sticking them, it's on the way, but that's a tutty, and I don't even know why the refs are reviewing it, because he clearly got at least a foot in. With a minute and a half left, the game is going to be on the line, and I think Zach Wilson could set us up nice if he gets out to this left side. I see multiple great blocks, and is this another return from Zach Wilson? He has made all of the difference in this game, and he has taken this one with no one touching him. I cannot believe that he has just returned another one, but I have played thousands of hours of NCAA football, and I love it. Anyway, I have never had any type of success like this when it comes to returning kicks, so this has been crazy to experience, but they still have plenty of time to respond back against us, and I think our best move is just to play soft coverage and let them throw it underneath. If we tackle them in bounds, the clock's going to run, so that's the plan, and let's see what they do here, where they're going to have 2 check down options, and they're going to definitely get the first down. It's unfortunate, but they only have 1 timeout left, so there's a lot of room for error, and they're going to have Foreman. Should we just let him get in? I mean, it's frustrating that we just gave up 1 back, but we have more time, and this is against a 90 overall team, so I don't feel bad if our kick returns end up working out for us, but that one didn't, so we have 37 seconds to figure it out. Jeff Shelby gets open and he drops it. This is not the time for him to be doing stuff like that, and overtime seems like it's going to be on the horizon, unfortunately, but we have to be careful because there is still a little bit of time left, and Zach Wilson reels this one in. He's going to spin out that defender to go to midfield, so I can let out a little bit of a sigh of relief, but we still have to make this catch, and we're probably about 5 or 10 yards away from field goal range right now, so we don't have to go for anything big, and I will will be as smart as possible, continuing to take things underneath, because I think we've set ourselves up nicely to kick the game winner, and we're just going to take the sack. Aaron Adams into -7 mile/hour winds. The ball is up, and it is good, but that was way too close for comfort. This almost hit that bottom upright, and our kicker has put us through to the semifinals. That was so stressful, but a championship is still possible. And of course, Zach Wilson definitely deserves this. I mean, aside from his 2 turnovers, Pat Smith was really good, and we've now won our first playoff game in school history, but I've still got a championship on my mind, and if Georgia wins, things are going to get even harder. They have a running back that won the Heisman, and clearly their defense is good, so I'm not looking forward to it. And he only rushed for 80 yards in this one, but it's going to be a battle, and one of the undefeated schools has lost. It's crazy to me that we're just 2 games away from winning it all, but I know that it's not going to come easy, especially since we have to play the Bulldogs in the rain, and I'm sure that they're about to slip off of every tackle we try to attempt, but they're passing on this first play, and come on, that's great defense from Grant Sanders. But if we could have gotten a pick, that would have been game-changing, and they're already shedding 1 tackle. Come on, just bring him down. He might have rushed for almost 2,000 yards, but I trust in our unit, and on 3rd and 7, we just have to make sure none of these zones get open. They have way too much time back there. Come on, let's make the hit, and they're going to get the first. I could have sworn that we would have had them there, but obviously their offensive line is really good, while our defensive line still has a lot of improving to do, but at least we can make a tackle. And on 2nd and 10, I am expecting the run again, but they go with a weird screenplay where they just went backwards for -7 yards. That was not a good play call from Kirby Smart, because now it is 3rd and 17. Surely our zones can stick with them, and we just have to make the hit in time. Well, they're being very aggressive, going for it on 4th and 2, and we just got flattened when trying to make a tackle right there. It's because it was our backup safety for whatever reason, and I'm not sure I ever want to see Bobby Thompson on the field again, because it's leading to big gains, and that's a touchdown. Obviously, I did miss that tackle, but they probably would have scored anyway. And the hit sticks are not paying off for us. Now we need Zach Wilson to step up. We'll see if Georgia's prepared to stop his returns, and look at that cutback. It was beautiful, but I don't think he can outrun all of them. So we're going to actually have to move the ball offensively, and they were all over that first run. We're definitely not going to go away from it, but that was very intimidating. And it is already a 3rd and 12 where we're going to have to get this out in time, and Josh Hartman's going to run for the first, hopefully, where we're so lucky that they gave it to us. That blitz almost caught me off guard, but now we're more prepared for it, so we're going to find Mark Adams for like 20. And I see that Josh Hartman is already out for a little bit, but at least he's only going to be out for a quarter. We could even keep him in the game, and I am going to do it, but there's always the chance that he could get injured for longer, and that would not be good. I just think he's too crucial to not have, at least on this first drive. We need to finish it. And I'm not sure if I can trust freshman Jay Atkins yet, but I know that I can trust Zach Wilson, and he isn't going to be able to get around this defender. I think we're going to make a hot read to Allen Brown, and they were all over him, but thankfully our tight end was still able to make the clutch catch, and it's going to be all tied up at 7. I'm very happy with what I saw from our offense on that first drive, and our defense really hasn't been bad. We had multiple chances to get them off of the field. Matt Small can't get over to Jacobs though, and I saw that one coming from a mile away. But what surprised me is how much they're passing for a team that had a Heisman winner that was a running back, and I'll take it because we can't stop the run. This is one of those situations where you know that's probably coming though, and I don't talk enough about Matt Small, but he's really improved ever since getting benched last year. Let's bring him down, and they're not going to pick up the first. That is exactly what we needed. Now we're getting the ball back on offense, and Zach Wilson's not getting out of here, but I'm still going to make sure that we get him a touch on this play, and they box the wide receiver screen. I didn't want to throw a pick, so I'd rather take the sack, but it stinks that they were all over that one, and they get another. To be honest, there's not really much hope on 3rd and 28. I know we're not picking it up, but I didn't think we'd take a safety, and that is the most crushing thing in the world. I shouldn't have even tried to do anything there. Now they have the ball back with a 2-point lead on us, but we have been doing so much better defensively until this play. To be honest, I kind of want to run commit and just risk it, which is going to pay off massively for us. So the Bulldogs definitely are going to punt now, and we'll see if Zach Wilson can do anything here. They've given him a chance to get the return. He's going to get around that defender, and we're also going to swerve inside, which is going to get us to about midfield. That was literally perfect. I could not have asked for anything more, but Josh Hartman's getting blown up, and we've gone away from running the ball, so I'm going to try it here where he takes this handoff for 8, but we still have to pass the ball on 3rd down, and I'm going to trust Zach Wilson to get to the marker, which he does. We probably shouldn't be in a hurry because it would be nice if this was the final drive of the half, and our star wide receiver might have just gotten decapitated on that last play. So let's hope that he's still healthy. And why is Georgia hitting this hard against us? I'm not sure, but we're going to get it to him on this jet sweep. He's not going to get the blocks that he needs, unfortunately. And to be honest, if we have to take our 3, I will take it because I just want to have a lead before the half, and we're going to fumble. Are you kidding me? It's picked up by Georgia. That's going to be terrible. I should have slid with him, but I got greedy. I wanted a little bit extra yardage, and with it raining like this, I should have just known better. Just like the USC game, multiple mistakes, but that does happen whenever you play against some tougher schools, and Zach Wilson's going to have to do something here. But he doesn't, so we have to work it down the field ourselves without fumbling the ball. And I promise I will slide with Pat Smith if he ends up keeping it on any of those. But I'm perfectly fine keeping it in the hands of Josh Hartman, and Jay Atkins is in the game, but he looks pretty good. We really haven't seen that much of the freshman, but I've been pretty happy with him most of the time at least, and I did not slide there, so I have some bad habits that I need to break. But we're continuing to push it down the field either way, and Pat Smith goes down. The issue is I'm not sure if he's going to get up. Fortunately for us, he did get up from that, and I do have this hitch route, which we're going to take, and you can always rely on the senior to bring it in. So we'll see if he can get open on this play, and I'm not sure if he is. Pat Smith's trying to run, and we'll throw it away. I think we're going to have to pass to get into the end zone, but maybe we can run it. We're going to pitch it last second, and they were not on Zach Wilson. I cannot believe that they didn't keep anybody out there to stop him, but we have scored a touchdown, and we did chase points here, which was the wrong move. That was very aggressive to do, but you know what? It should be okay. We're going to clamp up with this man coverage, and we have a zone right there, but Flynn somehow broke away from it, and come on. I strategically put somebody there to make a play, and he didn't do his job. That's all he had to do. Instead, the Bulldogs drive stays alive, and we're going to get over to Blake Kelly. So it's 3rd and short, and I'm waiting for the handoff. It's a little bit of play action, and that's going to leave somebody open. If they score here, they're going to end up taking a 3-point lead on us, and Lake just broke multiple tackles. He's gone. There's no one that's catching him. I've never seen a wide receiver just throw a guy on the ground like that, but I've also never seen a wide receiver that's as good at returning kicks as Zach Wilson is, and with those blocks, I think he might be able to go the distance. It looks like someone's going to catch him. He's going out at the 30, but for a second, I thought he might have been gone, and we're still in a good position. I have a feeling they're probably going to blitz here. It's man-to-man coverage at least, and Mark Adams is going to get open. This guy's going to the 5, and I'm not going to lie, some of these playoff games are the most stressful ones ever, but it would be so rewarding if we could finally win it all, and Josh Hartman's going to put us right back on top. It'll probably come down to who gets the next stop, and that was a great play from Brad Jones because Blake Kelly didn't stand a chance, and they give it back to him on the next one as well. It is 3rd and 9 now. We could actually get them off of the field. I see the slant, and we should have intercepted it, but I'm just happy that we get the stop because we have it back up by 1 possession already, and Zach Wilson's getting a lot of great blocks here, so he should get us to like the 40. It's been a pretty even matchup, and how we do on this next drive will really dictate how the rest of this game goes, so I'm a little confused what Pat Smith was doing there, but I'll let him think about it as we go into the 4th quarter, and I can guarantee that we're not running any more quarterback draws in the near future. Josh Hartman's going to get out though, and he's juking again. Could he go all the way? For a second, I thought the 266-pounder was about to pull that one off, but he broke Perkins' record, and he'll probably go down as the greatest running back in school history. We have him for another season though, and that's so close to the end zone, but they didn't give it to us, so we'll take it here. A national championship is starting to seem more and more realistic, and they can't continue to run the ball. Eventually, they're going to have to pass. Time is not on their side, but they're going to fight off a lot of tackles there, and can someone bring him down? We're just 4 minutes away from giving Georgia their first loss of the season, and we can't guard Robinson on this play, but we're also giving EJ Miller a lot of time back there, and let's just hit down number 10. Now it's 2nd and 8. They have a guy in motion, so I guess they're running, but we're all over him, and we all know that the pass is probably coming on 3rd down. We just have to make sure nobody's open, and they beat us. Running man-to-man coverage versus Georgia's probably not our best idea, as we're going to give up another play, so we'll swap over to zone, but I'm terrified that they're going to start running on us, and they still had somebody open even though we had zones everywhere. This feels like one of those situations where you just run commit and try to user everything, which I think we did a pretty good job of, but Brandon Lake was able to reach the end zone for a 2nd time, and this is a huge 2-point conversion where it's a draw and we're all over it. They're not even going for the onside kick because they have all 3 of their timeouts remaining, so I've kind of set up Zach Wilson for failure here, but if anybody can make something out of this, it's him, and our last 3 drives have gone so well, which is why I'm expecting this one too as well. All we need is 1 first down, and I think we'll be good to seal it against them, but I could have hit the hole a lot better there, and Pat Smith gets us down to the 30. All right, we're going to trust Josh Hartman to get in there, and he's going to truck for the first down, so it's all over. We're going to the Natty. It took us 8 seasons to get there, but we've put together the best roster that we've ever had, and we'll be facing either Penn State or Texas Tech, but it looks like it'll be the Nittany Lions, so we're going to have to play them again, and I think that's good because we know we can beat them, but their running back just went for over 200 yards, and they stand between us and our first ever championship. We know that they're a little bit better than us on paper, but statistically, we have the best offense, and of course, it's going to be raining again. I guess that's no surprise because this one's also in Miami, but I don't like playing in bad weather, especially for a championship, and they're starting it off with a halfback screen where we have got to knock them out of bounds. The hurry-up offense has already started though, so that's going to be a pain to keep up with, and I'm not sure if we can keep up with the deep post either. Grant Sanders has gotten burnt, and that's going to be a touchdown for them. I saw it coming, especially with them having that much time back there in the pocket, but maybe Zach Wilson can do something for us, and he didn't, but we're still going to focus on getting him involved with this going nowhere. It is very difficult to beat a team 2 times in a row, but that's what we're going to have to do today, and here on 3rd and 7, we have our curl route open. It's going to be brought in, so we can trust Justin Stevenson, and I was not putting it in the hands of Jeff Shelby because we desperately needed it, but Pat Smith has already taken a shot, and he did not get the blocks that he needed there. We have to remember that there is a reason this team is 15-0, and we have beaten this Nittany Lions team before. We are better, but we did get off to a rough start, and on 3rd and 2, we need our blocks to hold up. They're not going to. Pat Smith evades the pressure, and he misses the target. We're definitely going to go for it, and I'm going to have to give it to Jeff Shelby. Please hold on to the ball. Thank you. That really scared me. I thought he was going to drop it and we were not going to pick something up, but now we can pitch it to him and he's going to get the first touchdown for us. I would have never predicted it would have been him, but at least it's going to be all tied up at 7, and I'm sure that this is going to come down to the wire because it took a last-second field goal to beat him the last time Vince Smith gets to midfield, and we cannot let their offense do this to us. But with that counter run, there's a gaping hole. Everybody just got picked up and there's not a player in sight that I could even try to make a tackle with. It is safe to say that the Nittany Lions have come to play against us more than they did in the last one, and I cannot believe how quickly they've scored both times. I shouldn't even be fooling around in Wildcat right now, but sometimes this does break off for a big one. And now it's 3rd down where our slot receiver has to be our best option, and Jeff Shelby makes the catch. I'm starting to trust him, but I'm still not sure if I should, and look at that, Zach Wilson gets his 15. If he can get open, we know he'll probably have a sizable gain, and Pat Smith is going to move the chains as well. We need to be careful about fumbling it, but at least we're still having success offensively, and he is taking some shots from this defense, but I guess it's going to be all right. I mean, we've yet to see the ball pop out yet, and with this blitz, I'm just going to check it down to Jay Atkins because I know he's at least open, and we cannot risk turning the ball over. I think we're going to have success on every single offensive drive, and this is another good chance. We might be ending the first quarter down, but we have the ball inside Penn State's 10-yard line, and that's just bad. Did not hit the hole properly there, but we're going to go underneath to Justin Stevenson. So this is a 3rd and manageable where Pat Smith is going to just throw an interception. That did not go the way I thought it would. It didn't help the second Mark Adams got open. He just decided to stop running his route, but it was probably too delayed of a read, and now we have to come up with a defensive stand. I'm pretty sure we've turned it over every single time that we faced off against a good team. It's just the nature of it, but this is for the championship. We cannot be making mistakes like that. Here on 2nd and 10, we'll see what Penn State draws up. I'm trying to stick with everything, but we can't get over to it, and the fact that they stay in hurry up mode makes it so much harder to stop the Nittany Lions because our guys have no chance of getting a break, and I didn't know how to stop the option there. Here on 1st and 10, I'm starting to get desperate. We have to get a stop. Matt Small needs to make the tackle here, and he does, where the ball is going to come out. We got it. I don't like that the refs are reviewing it, but there's a chance that we just forced a turnover, and we did. His arm was definitely on the ground already, and yeah, the refs are not going to give that to us. I thought it came out a little late, but I was also so excited at the same time, and on 2nd and 9, he's going to keep it, which we are all over him. Hit him hard. It is insane that that does not result in a fumble. We have to have our zone stick though, and we do. So we're going to hold them to a field goal, and I was very nervous that we were going to somehow give that up, but the goal line interception might not be the end of the world if we can make this the final drive of the half, and I see some great blocks for Zach Wilson. This is his chance to make a difference, and he's not going all the way, but he has still set us up very nicely. And why are we passing this much? It is a recipe for disaster, especially after that last turnover, because I'm practically blind already the way it is, and Josh Hartman's going to have to keep moving the chains. Ideally, the ball never leaves the hands of Pat Smith once more in this game unless he's pitching it like this to Jeff Shelby, and we just keep things on the ground for every single play because I think that's what works best, and Josh Hartman goes down at the 1. Now it's time to get fullback Luis Miller a touch up the middle, and the senior gets a touchdown in this game as well. That was a clutch way to end the first half, and I'm sure that they're just going to hand this off one final time, so we'll stop them, and that means that we're only going to be down by 3 while also getting the ball, and it is time for Zach Wilson to shine. We've already seen one decent return from him. This could be another, but he got caught, and it is right back to running the football down their throats like this. Josh Hartman is literally running dudes over, and this is almost a fumble, so that could have ended terribly, but why is John Davis out there on the field? I do not understand why we have a backup out there in every single clutch situation in the series, and I'm putting Pat Smith back in immediately. He can play through whatever minor injury he has. We're just going to continue to hand this ball off, and truthfully, the true freshman has not been bad, but I am not going to trust him with our first national championship on the line because we have players like Pat Smith, and he has got to want it more than anybody else out there on the field right now. If we don't get like 5 yards here, we're going to have to pass it on 3rd down, unfortunately, and I'm really hoping for man coverage, which is exactly what they give us, so Zach Wilson gets open and he's going to the 3. That is all we need to set up Josh Hartman perfectly, and we're back on top versus Penn State. If our defense was ever going to get a stop, now would be the perfect time. We're all over Smith, and he's way too comfortable back there. I'm sending a blitz at him. It's a run, so it should work out for us, and someone has got to bring this guy down. He pitches it backwards. This is what happened versus Buffalo. We're going to pick this up, and Griffin is going to go all the way to the house. Dan Griffin, the freshman cornerback, just made the best play, and we have seen this happen before where their quarterback just panics and all of a sudden just chucks it backwards. I don't know what to do about it. I mean, I'm going to take advantage of it because right now I feel like we deserve to win this. We have put up a good fight against every team we faced all season, and he's about to break away for a big run. Can somebody bring this guy down? It's Griffin that's going to make the tackle, and I don't love that the freshman corner's out there because he's our 4th stringer and he's not going to make that one, but the last time we sent a blitz, it paid off, so we are going to do it again, and that's perfect. They're going to finally stop their hurry-up offense, and we've had a chance to breathe before they go for a wide receiver screen on 2nd and 12, and Drew just shed that tackle to get them the first. They are definitely not going away, but we've gotten goal line stops before, and Smith tripped over as he is going to just throw it away. I guess he could have probably hit a target there, but we're filling the hole, and they might as well take a field goal. Our defense just had a really good third quarter. And can you imagine the scenes if Zach Wilson could just crib this? That is what we need in this situation. He jukes to the inside, but he tumbled over. And now it's on our offense to get us down the field against this tough defense, but we've been having a lot of success, and this is going to be another example. Now that it's a 2nd and 1, I feel very confident in Josh Hartman picking it up, and I just realized that we are approaching the end of the third quarter. There's not that much time left in this one, and on 2nd and 11, they're hitting us. We're going to fumble. Are you kidding me? All we had to do was keep on driving, but I guess that makes up for the glitch where they just pitched it on the ground and then we picked it up for a touchdown. Once again, it's going to be on our defense to step up, and Smith isn't going anywhere, so maybe we'll hold him to a field goal. And I've never felt like I need to be more locked in, but they're getting a lot of good blocks here. Kyle Stephens doesn't make the tackle, and that's going to the crib. Vince Smith is going to be in my nightmares tonight, but maybe Matt Small will be in my dreams as he's able to shoot that gap, and he's just scrambling. We're going to get the sack. That's big. They didn't get the 2-point conversion, so we're still going to have a 2-point lead with about 5 minutes remaining, and this is where we have just got to run the option to perfection. That was a little bit risky there, but at least it worked out for us, and the Boulder takes this one where he fights for the first. With this little time left and a championship on the line, it makes sense to start chewing the clock against them, but Josh Hartman is holding his chest, and it's going to be on freshman Jay Atkins to help us finish this one out, along with Pat Smith, of course. But that's a little concerning because I don't even know if Atkins is warmed up, and I don't care if the wind's knocked out of him. He's coming right back in. I am going to give Zach Wilson one play to make something happen just because we do lean on the sophomore, and he has set us up for this 3rd and 4 where the slant underneath is going to be knocked down. I don't know if I like this decision to punt or not, but we are going to do it. They still have all 3 of their timeouts left. I think it's the right move, and now we have to lean on our defense. Hartman was already injured, so I didn't want to push it with him, and that is a huge sack from senior Brad Jones. You can tell that he wants this more than anyone else, so I guess that's why you lean on your defense. On 3rd and 12, we just have to hope that Smith doesn't see anybody open, and he almost got that out. I cannot believe it, but we did make the right decision. They are punting it back to us because they have 3 timeouts left, even though there's only a minute left. Don't fumble. And right now this game is giving me a heart attack, but we're still just 1 first away from a national championship, and okay, maybe another. I don't know why I did not slide, but we're just so close to making it happen. Just go down. And the pressure is seriously on right now. Hartman's going to get a couple, and I'm even rethinking my play call, but I think that timeout's going to pay off. We just need a couple more. I see the blocks, and that's going to go for the first. It's over. That was such a stressful result, but your Grand Rapids Mastodons have won their first ever championship, and I hope there's more to come because we are not ending the series here. We're about to lose our star quarterback to the NFL, and we're also about to get an invite to a bigger conference, so there are a lot of things to look forward to in the future of Grand Rapids, and that starts with the offseason, which is how we always end every single one of these videos. It was a really hard run, but we deserve that championship, and this season had a ton of different records that got set, especially by Josh Hartman, and Andrew Luck also won Coach of the Year, and I can't even be upset that we lost our offensive coordinator because we got another high-level one, so our offense should be fine, but Pat Smith is off to the NFL while Allen Brown wants to come back because he has a lot more to prove, and Kyle Stephens is also returning while Matt Small is actually getting drafted. I cannot believe that he is. Brad Jones, who we moved from defensive end to defensive tackle, is also probably getting drafted, and another big name we're losing is center Dwayne Jackson. He was always a starter. Bruce Holmes didn't make a difference, but Justin Stevenson did, and the JUCO was only with us for 2 years, but he brought us a title just like Michael Hill, and we're also saying goodbye to Adam Evans, Luis Miller, and Robert Smith, our punter. Now, when it comes to recruiting, we do have another opportunity to beat Penn State, and luckily for us, we got all 3 of those guys. With no recruiting restrictions, we have signed a top 5 class, and there's a lot of athletes that we're going to have to move around that are a part of it, but I'm excited to see how everybody fits in. With Freddie Martin, we just need to get a little bit more depth at quarterback, and Luke Simmons has 93 speed, so he's going to make for a great corner, while Alex Bell is a bit slower, so he's going to be a halfback, and Jamal Hill is 6'2", so he's going to play at wide receiver, with Steve Poland being another wide receiving option, and then Antonio Williams being a halfback. We also have this guy named Alex Diggs that whenever I move him to defensive tackle becomes a 78, so especially with training results, he's going to start for us there. Except then there's this freshman middle linebacker that would never see the field until we move him there, and he's an 81. Let's just say that this team has a lot of options when it comes to our defense, and I'm ready to see how much everybody improved, with Zach Wilson shooting up to a 91 overall, Josh Hartman at an 86, and John Davis at an 85. I'm definitely going to break down each room, but I also want it to include the freshmen, and I'm not happy with Grant Sanders not going up anything, but I guess it's all good. Starting at quarterback, we're obviously going to go with John Davis, and then we have so many options when it comes to running the ball, with 89 speed Josh Hartman being our best one, and then we have a new JUCO fullback that we'll never use, along with some freshman receivers like Jamal Hill, but we really need to work on our tight end room, and when it comes to offensive linemen, to be honest, it is not looking pretty, as it's not as high as I'd like it to be, and the same could be true for our defensive line because Luke Anderson didn't improve, and we got some work to do. At linebacker, Jay Green also didn't go up by much. Kyle Patrick is going to be an 81 though, and that's nice, and look at Jared Snyder. Then we have cornerback, where it's good that I moved Luke Luke Simmons over, we're going to have Danny King starting next season and then Kyle Stevens at strong safety, with Aaron Adams as our kicker and new punter Jared Lilly. The last thing I have to do is decide which conference Grand Rapids is going to be changing to, and I'll leave the future of stuff that happens in this series up to you all in the comments, so let me know what you want to see, and I cannot believe that we just got our first championship.